encouragement, because regardless of who comes in, if it's 150, Liverpool won't be there. If it's closer to 120 million, they will be.
We understand they still want to sign Johan Wissa, but Brentford remain reluctant to sell. Elsewhere, Jose Mourinho has been sacked by Fenerbahce hours after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was fired by Besiktas. Could either succeed Ruben Amorim? Ben Foster's told us Gareth Southgate should be next in line, given his ability to change dressing room culture. Either way, he says, a new goalkeeper at Old Trafford is a must, and there's so many that have already slipped through their fingers.
Aaron Ramsdale, I see him sitting on the bench, and I think you could be playing for Man United. You've got James Trafford, who signed for Man City. I just don't know why they're not going out and getting a Donnarumma or an Emi Martinez, because I think once you get that goalkeeper sorted, I think that's just the building blocks of where you need to get to.
talkSPORT understands Xavi Simons has had his Spurs medical and everything's been signed after €60 million fee was agreed. Alejandro Garnacho's move to Chelsea has also been agreed. The initial fee is £40 million with another 10 in add-ons. And at the US Open, the last two remaining Brits have both facing tough tests in round three. Cam Norrie takes on Novak Djokovic before Emma Raducanu takes on former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina.
talkSPORT News.
A new chickenpox vaccine will be introduced on the NHS in January, and a Heathrow migrant detention centre is hiring a florist and a cake director, costing the taxpayer £165,000 a year. Find out more with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Buy 2 or more Bridgestone Turanza all-season 6 tyres and claim Bridgestone's massive 20,000 mileage guarantee. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
The rain in the southeast is due to clear in the next couple of hours. Elsewhere, blustery, heavy showers with possible thunder and even hail in places with average temperatures.
Hello, very good morning to you. This is Sam Matterface with Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. We're here right the way through till 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll kick things off this morning with Manchester United and Kobbie Mainoo and his request to leave to try and play first-team football. And with the news of Jose Mourinho's departure, could there be a Premier League comeback for the special one? With Nick Voltemada's medical at Newcastle imminent, is the transfer saga of the summer about to come to an end? And we'll be hearing from the men's squad announcement. England announced their 26 players to take on Serbia and Andorra a little bit later on. We've got the Europa League, the Conference League draws as well in the final hour of the show, and loads of transfer gossip for you as well. There's loads to come. It's Matterface, Crook and Deeney, and we're live on talkSPORT.
100% engagement. Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT.
Boys, you all right?
Morning, must have missed the Shackett memo. But,
yeah.
How are we?
Yeah, it's a bit hot in here, though. I almost took mine off the minute I walked in because it is pretty warm.
That's Big Al, isn't it? He does crank up the aircon. Are you okay? Because
I'm fine.
You've been a bit dictatorial this morning.
Have I really?
Yeah,
have I really?
Chucking your weight around a bit.
Is that you probably don't know because you've been ignoring everyone. He got told off in the cafe upstairs for not answering the young lady who asked him to pay for his coffee 3 times. In the end, she said to him, "You're rude."
Yes. I'm glad other people are seeing it. I'm glad other people see it.
You came to my defence.
I did. I have to come to your defence. I had to explain to that. He's a very important person now.
Well, talking to Divas, you have read on the running order. I've been told this morning.
That's not true.
I have been told. Maya, is that true? Give me a thumbs up. Yep, thumbs up. That's
Producer
true.
Maya, this is probably the 3rd time she's produced this on a Friday, and you're
just going, nah, this is how it needs to be.
Well, we could have talked about Crystal Palace, but I think probably Manchester United is a bigger story. I don't know. You tell me. It is Matterface, Crook and Deeney every Friday, and someone sent me a text message actually last week suggesting that there's something we should do with those initials, right? Like, DCM, CDM, could be like, defensive midfield. I actually thought this was better. Deeney, Matterface Crook, DMC. We could dress up as Run DMC, the 1990s hip gods. What do you reckon?
I mean, I think I'd be all right. You two be a bit.
I don't know. Instead of Run DMC, maybe it'd be more like unable to run DMC. We'll just walk this way. Right. Mainoo has told them that he wants to go out and play regular football, so he's asked Manchester United if he'd go out on loan. That ain't going to happen. It's a story that started with Crook breaking the news on Monday that he was exploring his options after being left out the first 2 games of the season. He did start against Grimsby. They're not going to let him go out on loan because of his wages. And in football terms, it is small. It's massive for everybody else, but for football terms, it is quite small. But hours after selling or agreeing to sell Alejandro Garnacho, would Manchester United be prepared to cash in on another academy graduate?
I think if somebody made a significant offer, then they would consider it. Obviously, contract talks have stalled. No sign that they're going to reach a compromise in terms of what he wants wages-wise and what Manchester United are prepared to pay. I think it's a worrying time when you're talking about an academy graduate, someone who is really part of the fabric of the football club, and you look at Manchester United's history, their DNA is on recruiting players from that academy, giving them minutes in the first team and allowing them to prosper. And this is all on Ruben Amorim and his system. Because
I knew you was going to go down this route.
Well, go on then. You push back. How can you play against Fulham last week?
2 weeks ago against Arsenal, was you in here saying it was a bad system? Yes or no?
It was a better performance against
Arsenal.
But
it wasn't the system's fault.
One swallow doesn't make a summer.
But it wasn't the system's fault. This is what's frustrating me with Man United.
The system was ragged at Fulham. They had Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount as the 2 number 6s. Mainoo is number 6.
The point is, 2 weeks ago, that wasn't the problem. Now it's the problem. Do you get what I mean? But so again, talk about Mainoo. Would you start him?
Yeah.
You'd start him?
Yeah, I would.
Based on what you saw against Grimsby, you'd start him?
I think he was one of the better players against Grimsby. It wasn't difficult.
Yeah, exactly. So, again, we do this whole thing. I've done a big piece on it this morning for The Sun. We do this thing around Man United where it's talk about past, talk about history. And this is the DNA and how we are, what we are. But we've also, for the last 5 years, complained about mediocrity and people being rewarded for being mediocre. We're now changing it. And it's no, we've got to go back to how it was. I don't actually think Man United fans know what they want.
Well, there's 2 ways of looking at this, Troy, isn't there?
Yeah.
This is a kid who was the poster boy of the United Academy 18 months ago when he helped them win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
He played for the England team.
Played in the final of the European Championships.
But he's 20.
Yeah.
And the path to the Premier League and being a Premier League footballer is not always smooth. It's not always a linear, straight line. This is probably his first real setback since becoming a professional footballer after being played in the first team. So should United be treating him better, or should he be knuckling down and fighting for his place?
Well, there's both. There is both. But I would then, because again, he played in the Euros, which was how long ago now?
A year.
Yeah. So what's he done in the last year?
Didn't have a great season. I'll give you that.
There was time last year you were saying he's flat to deceive and things of that nature. So again, it's this whole thing. So what do you want to do? Give him let's say he wants, I'm making up numbers, I don't know what he wants. Let's say he wants 175 grand a week.
But this him wanting to leave is not about the contract. This is about playing. He wants to be playing because it's a World Cup year.
Of course. But also, play. Man United are terrible at this moment in time. They're terrible. There's no easier time to get in.
But you've got a manager who's so wedded to his system and trying to shoehorn all his...
What's his position?
I think he's one of those number 6s.
He did play on Wednesday night against Grimsby, and he didn't run the show. I mean, he played okay. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't. You didn't sit there and go, he was fantastic. He played a couple of good balls into the box.
Because mentally, I think his head is not in a good place.
But hold on, you could also argue, and I'm not having a go at him because I think he's all right and I quite like him and I would love to see him thrive because I think he's a good young English player. I don't know the kid, so yeah. But also you could say, well, if you really are desperate to get in and start playing, really go into that match and make your mark.
But it's not even that.
Would you not say that? Is that being hard?
As a player, you don't dictate when you're going to get your chance. You've always got to be ready for your chance. So his chance was against Grimsby. Now, I'd give the last 35, 40 minutes when the rain came and it was mental. Obviously, you was there.
That's crazy.
But before that, you didn't jump off the pitch and be like, oh, my God, he looks miles better. I looked at Cunha, and again, I thought, fair play, because you're treated like a Prem game. You were trying to do things, you were treated it the same way. A lot of those Man United players, sorry to say it, mate, but entitled. And we've had this conversation before. You know, I'm an Amorim fan for what he's trying to do, from talking about culture setting. There's so many players there that now he's still got to get rid of. So Garnacho looks like he's gone. Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, the left back, Højlund now, the goalkeeper now, and then Mainoo's going, oh, I want to go now. It's like everyone wants to jump on the ship. My question to all these players is, where are you going that's better?
Yeah, listen, I've made that argument before. Yeah. However, my question to you is, and listen, I'm an Amorim fan as well. I've backed him on this programme. He's been there 9 months now. Of
course.
There's no obvious sign that this system that you don't like talking about is working. All right, they played well against a poor Arsenal team. Arsenal were poor on the opening day of the season. They looked undercooked. They still lost, ultimately, Manchester United.
I'm with you on that.
The fact that Kobbie Mainoo is a victim of this system, and so is Garnacho to a certain extent, because I know there was a personality clash and a fallout, but really the reason that happened is because he's a winger and Ruben Amorim does not want to play.
You haven't answered where you're going to play Kobbie Mainoo.
He said
where are you going to play?
In the six.
So, but he played there in midweek. So why is he a victim of the system? That's not being a victim of the system, is it? That's being. He was in the team in the sixth position where you asked him to be.
He hasn't been in the team in that position in the Premier League.
That's because Ruben Amorim has decided against it.
That's because he's shoehorning Bruno Fernandes into a position that doesn't get the best out of him because he's so wedded to this system. Does the system work? Do you watch Manchester United?
Yeah, I think it does, but it only works for a period of time. I think when you make changes, your team goes from, let's say, it's 85% down to 55%. There's a massive drop when you have different players in. Now, again, it's completely different, right? So you're saying they're shoehorning Bruno Fernandes in, right? Who do you reckon, if you had to put money on it, we don't know this, we're just speculating. If you had to put money on it, who's the better trainer day to day?
We'd be guessing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We guess. If you had to put money, who would you say is the better trainer?
I think it's unfair because I've not heard any suggestion that Kobbie isn't a good trainer.
I'm not saying that one's better. I'm saying who is the better trainer consistently. What you do as a manager, what you do as a player.
I don't know.
I actually do, but it's fine. The reason they've put Fernandes as captain is why? Because he scores goals on a weekend, or is he fit, available, trained, sets the standard every single day? Fernandes. That's what it is. So people like him get in, and it's difficult. But this is the problem with young players now. I'm generalising, but especially at Man United, when it's going good, give me all the money, all the rewards, all the contracts.
You keep making this about money. No one said he wants to leave.
No, I don't think he is making about money. I think what you are, he's making about attitude of young players. Go back to what you're saying.
Does he want a new contract?
I think he wants rewarding for where he's...
And how does he get rewarded as a player? With a new contract, with new money?
But both can be the same, can't he?
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. But I'm saying...
He can want to leave because he's not playing.
All right, so my original point is, these players at Man United get rewarded with financial gains. They get longer-term contracts. And they have not performed. Over the last 4 to 5 years, they have not performed to a standard that is becoming of Man United. Agreed?
Yeah.
Right. Then you have a Marcus Rashford situation where you become one of the highest paid players, you're from the youth team, and now you are the problem with everything. You get rid of that person, and it's like, now it's not working. It's, but even though Garnacho is the problem. I remember specifically sitting here with you, and you saying when he was kicking off and the things he was doing after before the final, and you were saying, that's not how a player should act. He's not a victim of the system. He's a victim of his behaviour.
He's
a victim of his behaviour.
I just worry about the fact that this manager is being allowed to alienate academy products when he's not actually delivering results on the pitch. What happens if results don't get any better?
You're in exactly the same situation.
They'll fire the manager.
Yeah,
and Nacho's already been sold. Kobbie Mainoo may well have left as well.
Do you think that? Okay, so I
think the question is not necessarily about what happens if Amorim gets fired. The question is are you asking Amorim to do a job of turning this football club's culture around? And if the answer to that question is yes, you have to give him a free hand to operate the way he wants to operate. Now, he's already said, I don't want to lose Kobbie Mainoo. I want Kobbie Mainoo to be part of my squad. But I also want Kobbie Mainoo to do this, and this in order to get into the squad. And do you know what? He sees him on a day-to-day basis. You're right. We'd be guessing we don't see him on a day-to-day basis. But I imagine that the reason he's saying that is because he's seen something that he wants to get more out of.
Mm-hmm. I saw a lot of ego. You were there, Sam. I saw a lot of ego. There was a moment in the second half where Ahmad thought he should have got a foul. just turned around and threw his hands in the air, and Brian and Burmo's going to him, no, go again. This is someone who's come through the youth.
Is he not another frustrated player who's a victim of the system? Because
so are you blaming Amorim from Manchester United's ills now? 10 months in.
He started as a 10, but he has been playing as a wing back in the Premier League.
But he started as a 10, and they were But he started as a 10, and they were 2-0 down.
All of the problems are now on the system. Is that what you're saying now? Is that now the focus?
I think if you're asking if there's one major issue stopping Manchester United winning football matches, it's the rigidness of the system.
Not the fact they just don't score any goals.
But is that partly because of the system?
Did they play this system under Eric Ten Hag when they didn't score any goals?
Well, they've addressed that by spending £200 million on new forwards, and they're still not scoring any goals.
Do you think that the Šeško going in now should be hitting the ground running?
Not necessarily.
He's had 2 weeks.
He looked a million miles off the pace, but I'd like to get your view as a number. I think he was number 10 on the list of penalty takers. Well, he had cramp allegedly.
No, but I also think that's it's a young man going into a massive club. But is he trying not to step on people's toes? Is he what's going on in his personal life? Is he still in the hotel? There's all these things that people don't remotely think about because you don't care, and that's fair because all you care about is the end product. But he's moved country for the first time. Is he in the hotel? Is he got food? Is he with his family over? There's all these different things.
Okay, so much to talk about, and it seems like it's going to go on for a while because the text machine's gone crazy, so has the phone lines, and we want your say as well. This is an England international, was part of the team that got to the final just a year or so ago. What has happened to lead to this impasse at club and country? It's a club that's famed for promoting talent from the academy, but it looks like after Garnacho's gone, Kobbie Mainoo is thinking about trying to leave as well. 03717 223344. Who should shoulder the blame? What should happen next? You can WhatsApp us, you can text us, you can voice note us, you can text us 81089 as well. He's got a contract that runs until 2027, and Manchester United have got an option on that as well. Is he in a good mood or a bad mood today? What are we saying? Where are we with it?
He's in a hammering out mood, but if they beat Burnley 4-0, it'll be hammering's great, and it's all the players. It depends on the week.
I'm not in an hammering out mood. Hammering changed the system that is flawed.
He tried to tell us, I'm a very happy person today. We're not convinced. I wonder if the Tottenham fans are convinced as well, because they love you. Spurs on the verge of signing a £51.8 million deal with Leipzig's Xavi Simons. We'll talk about that as well later on in the programme. And the special one's been sacked. This is talkSPORT. Sam Matterface, Troy Deeney and Alex Crook with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. he say to me? Did he say to me, be nice? He did. Did he say be nice? I am nice. I'm a nice guy. Like you said, I'm a happy guy. I've got a present for you today, by the way.
Go on.
I've got a present. You know, I've got him a present, don't you? You know,
Okay.
I've got a present.
Yeah,
I've got it. I've got it. I'm going to give it to him today.
Is it an earpiece?
It's a YouTube event.
What are you doing? Sorry, if anyone who's watching, you've got to put it around your ear for it to go into your ear. There you go.
So Crook is having a problem with his headphones, as usual, which is basically a Friday nowadays. Right, okay, let's get on to the call. Speak to Tom, who's a Manchester United fan. Hello.
Hello, boys. How you doing?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. You're through to Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. What do you want to say, pal?
Well, first things first, Troy, I think you're best man on the radio at the moment. You speak with absolute clarity, and it's really refreshing. But my point is, if you go back through Man United's history, some of the best players that they've had, like Ahmad, Beckham, I mean, we're going back. All of these players have gone out on loan when, you know, they may not have had a route into the first team. Their experience, come back in and absolutely smashed it. I mean, look at Ahmad. He went to Sunderland, amongst other places. He dug deep. He came back in and his reward was game time. I think Mainoo could potentially have the same opportunity.
So you think that actually by going away and playing elsewhere, he might develop into a better player, and maybe just a different environment might just give him the tools that he needs to make it in the Manchester United first team?
I don't see why not. Yeah, I mean, Premiership footballers or footballers, they need to play. They need to get experience to get better. You don't sit on the bench or play in the background and become better overnight. You've got to go and pitch it against people.
Okay, Tom,
And
thank you
we
very
don't wanna
much.
lose. Yeah.
We appreciate that. Troy, Tom was saying, I know you didn't hear him there, he was saying that the Premier League footballers need to go out and play football week in, week out, whether that's on loan or at Manchester United. Mainoo might benefit, like Ahmad did, from going out and getting experience, only 20 years of age, of course.
Yeah, of course. But again, we was talking in the break there. Like, I don't know the kid personally. I don't have any gripes against him. I just think when you've been on that meteoric rise, which he had, and everything was going steadily up. Obviously, last year was interrupted by injury. Is it not now the dig-in phase? Is this not now the dig-in and, right, let's get my career back on track and let me prove to everybody I'm going to be in it? And as a manager as well as a coach, is Amorim not looking at the team going, well, he's probably going to get injured. I'm probably going to need him at later points. We're so caught up in his first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, but this has been going on longer than that. You know, I think he started 15 of Amorim's.
How many games was he available for?
Games in charge.
How many was he available for?
Well,
he
featured regularly after Ruben Amorim succeeded Ten Hag in November, including as a false nine in the 2-0 defeat in February
that was just ridiculous.
To Palace. He started all but 2 of his side's Premier League matches following his return from injury in April because he picked up an injury after that. The only time that he was a substitute was during the latter part of the Europa League campaign.
There you go. So he's been playing. So
like you're a false number 9 at times.
Yeah, but again, this is the bit that
wasn't always the case.
No, but it's not. But Sam,
he's done it a couple of times.
The bit is bigger than that. You're a young kid. Do you know where you play when you're a young kid? Wherever you're told to play. You haven't got the cachet. You haven't got that. Everyone in Man United is an international. Everyone. Even that goalkeeper that you don't like is an international.
Which one?
He had to go at Mason Mount this morning and told me that he was a terrible player. But he'll play left wing back. He'll come on. He'll play in central midfield. He'll play as a false 9. He'll play wherever you ask him to play because he wants to play in the team. Let's go to Martin, who joins us now. Hello.
Hi guys. You okay?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you. What do you want to say?
I'd just like to say, Troy, you're amazing. What you speak is absolute truth. I think, the problem with United is that they all seem to be on the gravy train. They wear that badge and they don't care about it. They don't care about turning up. They just want the money.
Are you including Mainoo in that?
Yeah. I think he's sad to say, but I agree. Not sad to say I agree with Troy. I agree with Troy 100%. He's in the situation. He's young. He should be absolutely buzzing to get back to play for United. Not going out anywhere. He's got the best stage in the world to be a top footballer, and he obviously hasn't got it in him. He's more concerned about getting a new contract.
He doesn't believe the manager believes in him.
I feel so sorry for Amorim. I think he's a good manager. I think he's a gentleman, and I think he's struggling because I think he's still got a few bad people in there that are causing a problem, and I just feel that. You watch his face and it's like looking at a shop manager that's got staff there that's letting people rob the shop. What do I do? You know, you can only do so much as a manager, and if you can't kick backsides and get them to motivate on the money they're on, then they all won't go in because, you know, United's history and, you know, I mean, you know, they're talking about Beckham's. I mean, you go back to Munich, you know, and the guys that were injured in Munich, Charlton and all them, they wanted to play for United. They did everything to get back on that pitch and wear that badge.
And I'm sure, Martin, if Cobby was here, he would be saying, I want to do that as well. But there's a difference between saying it and doing it.
Yeah, and I just think, sorry, Martin, sorry to interrupt. I think when what Crook is saying, he doesn't feel that the manager, you know, sees him in his plans. You've literally said he's played when he's available until the end of April, the latter stages, and he just hasn't played in 2 games. That to me is a character trait. That's a character trait. Things are getting hard now. It's not how I'm used to it. I'm ready to jump out. And to Martin's point there about playing for Man United, it's arguably the biggest club in the world. It's fallen massively over the last decade or so, but it's still Man United. You're still able to pull people, Brian and Burma, who Newcastle are looking at and go, no, they come here. What the problem I have is now, it's when we've said this on numerous occasions over the last year, while you've still got that, we'd call it in the game bomb squad, while you've still got those people that are not involved, that he doesn't want around in the building, it is so difficult to be able to create a culture. Because you look at Arsenal, and I always go back to Arsenal, the biggest things that Arteta got right was Ozil, bang, out. Aubameyang, bang, out. There was no let's see, and it drags on for 6-7 months. It was, this is what we're doing, get rid of him, we move together.
However, the one question that will keep coming back is why is there a list of 5 or 6 players constantly that end up falling out with the manager?
Because ultimately, as a player, and this is not what players are going to tell you the truth, but it's the truth, I want to do what's best for me. Yes, we play as a team, but does Garnacho want to play as a 10 and trap back that way? No, he wants to play as a winger, and everyone gives him the ball, and he gets his shots off and shows his tricks. Unfortunately, this is not the place for you.
So do you credit Ahmad for someone exactly who's come in and doesn't play in really either of those positions? He's not a 10, he's not a right wing back, but he'll do both because he wants to play in the team.
But you are seeing the ego creeping, because what he was doing last year was he'll play anywhere, anytime, anything. And I said that little bit against Grimsby where he thinks he should get a foul, and he's turning around, hands in the air, and why not me? That wasn't there last year because you get rewarded. And that's what it is.
But is it not a problem? Arguably United's best player consistently last season when fit was Ahmad.
Yeah, correct? 100%.
You're now playing him out of position because you want to play this system. Bruno Fernandes, you've
not played the system last year.
Is the captain.
He's been playing the system since December.
Yeah. Yeah, but he played better before.
What, in the 3 months that got him sacked?
You were bemoaning the system yourself last night. You think the system is right?
I was asking the question.
The system is wrong. Ahmad is not a right wing back. Bruno Fernandes is not a number 6.
Okay, so
you don't need to play 3 centre backs away from home against Grimsby.
Clearly,
just
you needed
because
to play
this
4.
is your system.
Clearly, you needed to play 4.
It's a nonsense.
What you need if you use this system.
You've hammered Russell Martin for being too stubborn.
Yeah, I agree.
But Amarin's okay.
No, because I'm not talking about the system. Again, I am talking about the culture. Again, if you
both can be true, can they not?
Of course they can be, but they can be different for different situations. When Southampton came up into the Premier League, at what point did you think any of those players were good enough to play football in the Prem? Never. Thanks for not answering. Never. So the point is, when you then try and play football with that team, that's the problem. That wasn't the culture. It wasn't players saying they wanted to leave. Every single player at Southampton was buzzing to be there. They've hit the jackpot. At Man United, every player that's there feels that they have a God-given right to play for Man United. That's the problem you need to fix then. Then it's 3-4-3, then it's 5-4-1, whatever you want it to be. But if you still have people... By the way, these problems aren't now. These problems have been going on when Ollie was there. They've been going on for ages. People not turning up on time. People were spending 90 million on a player. They don't turn up. It's about the players. And I know we're not allowed to speak about the players because they're the protected species.
We've always spoken about the players when it comes to Manchester United.
No, in general...
He's been allowed to get rid of the players that he doesn't want. He's been allowed to spend £200 million and there's still no progress.
The first transfer, when he first came in... Sorry, Sam, I know we've got to go to a break. When he first came in, we argued about how many transfer windows he would need. 4, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
He's had 2. And you bought in Dorgu, the first one.
And why do they bring in Dorgu? Because he fits the system. The fact he's not good enough
Fancy
doesn't come into it.
Fancy bringing in players that fit the system. That was a terrible decision.
Players who are not good enough.
717
Players who are not good enough.
344 is the number to call if you want to get in touch. It's a heated discussion this morning, as you would expect. There's a lot going on. We like your contributions as well. 81089 on the text. It's time to give him the present, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, we'll do it next.
Is Alexander Isak now free to make his move? Well, maybe, given that Newcastle have agreed to sign Stuttgart striker Nick Voltemade for a deal totalling £69 million. Our European experts have compared him to Peter Crouch, a big man with a great touch who can also weave in and out of challenges. Our transfer reporter Ben Jacobs says it remains to be seen if Newcastle will now open the door to another Liverpool bid.
If you're Liverpool and you're looking at this profile and the money spent, you're taking encouragement, because regardless of who comes in, if it's 150, Liverpool won't be there. If it's closer to 120 million, they will be.
Jose Mourinho has been sacked by Fenerbahce just hours after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was fired by Besiktas. Could either succeed Ruben Amorim? Well, Ben Foster's told us Gareth Southgate could maybe do it, given his ability to change the mindset within a dressing room. Either way, he says a new goalkeeper is a must, and there are so many that have already slipped through their fingers.
Aaron Ramsdale, I see him sitting on the bench, and I think you could be playing for Man United. You've got James Trafford, who signed for Man City. I just don't know why they're not going out and getting a Donnarumma or an Emi Martinez, because I think once you get that goalkeeper sorted, I think that's just the building blocks of where you need to get to.
Elsewhere, talkSPORT understands Xavi Simons has had his Spurs medical and everything's been signed after a €60 million fee was agreed. Alejandro Garnacho's move to Chelsea has been agreed as well. The initial fee is £40 million with another 10 in add-ons. Get all the latest transfer lines at talksport.com.
talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface and Alex Crook with Troy Deeney this morning. We're here through till 1 o'clock. Got a little bit heated in that first section of the programme. We were trying to calm him down. Your issue here is you think the system is all to blame. But Amarim's brief is to try and make a team that is capable of winning the league in 2028. So what he's done is he's tried to come up with a system, or he's brought his system that has worked for him before, where he tries to control matches. It does rely on a defender to be able to play. It does mean that that person has to be comfortable stepping into midfield to make up the numbers, because we all know that you need midfielders in that area to cover the ground and win possession and link the play. The biggest issue you've got is that actually the players that Manchester United have, all of them, by the way, in the middle of the park, do not fit the criteria that he needs. Casemiro struggles with the pace. Manuel Ugarte lacks the technical skill to be able to anchor. Bruno Fernandes, could be Mainoo, Mason Mount. They're not deep-lying midfield players. So what he's doing is he's doing a patch-up job at this moment, because as Troy was saying...
He's not even doing a patch-up job.
Well, he is doing a patch-up job because he's using those players in those areas that aren't suited to it. That's the definition of doing a patch-up job.
In the short term, if the players you have don't fit your system, you need to find a way to win football matches. And as Martin O'Neill sat in that chair and told us on Monday, Ruben Amorim has not won enough football matches. 29 Premier League games, 28 points.
And I think we all totally agree with that. You've got to win football matches. But what's that got to do with Kobbie Mainoo changing whatever it is that Ruben Amorim doesn't like about him to get into the football team?
Because I'll go back to the point at the top of the programme. He's playing people in those positions because he wants Bruno Fernandes in the team. I get that. But
you're not answering the question. The question is what is made.
Did you know when Ruben Amorim came into the club what system he was going to play? Right. Did you know
why he didn't get other jobs in the
Did you
Premier
know
League?
all of the roles that were available in that team? By knowing the system, you know all the jobs that are available in that team, right? So that's 10 months ago. If you're a player in the squad, do you not think, I've got to do whatever I can do? And I'm not having a go at Kobbie Mainoo here or anybody else. I'm being general. Yeah. Do you not, as a player in the Man United squad, then start thinking to yourself, I've got to make myself good enough in one of those roles to be in that team week in, week out? Is that not the job?
Yeah, of course it is. And I get that. But again, I repeat, both can be true. Yes, there's aspects of Kobbie's game that he can improve, clearly.
Of course, that's everyone.
He's entitled to be frustrated in a World Cup year. He's played in the European Championship final. He probably won't be in the England squad today. That's the main motivating factor with him wanting to go out and play games. It's not about the money. And he obviously doesn't feel he's going to get that opportunity under Ruben Amorim. Now, you're saying, well, that's because he's not doing what the manager wants him to.
No, we're not saying that.
Part of that.
We're not saying that. The manager is saying that he wants more. Yeah. We're not saying that. That's what Ruben Amorim said in his interview pre-match on Wednesday.
But I think you stumbled on something really good there, Sam. So 10 months now, you know, he would have been day after day drilling in, you know, this is what I want from my defenders, here's what I expect from a goalie, midfielder, so on and so forth. January, he could have left, chose not to. Window opened earlier this year, didn't it? I'm trying to work, was it May or June it opened up?
It opened for 2 weeks in June.
Fundamentally, I don't think he really wants to leave.
No, again. So then, shut up and work. Shut up and work. And this is my problem with the club as a whole. You know everything. We know if the tea lady's been sacked. We know if the tickets have gone up. We know if the club have took the tickets back from the players.
We know if they've sent an email out internally.
There you go.
About what we're planning to do over the next couple of weeks.
Shut up and work. We're doing all these things about system, about tactics,
so
about players.
Is there a danger here, actually, that, you know, actually Kobbie Mainoo might not have known about any of these stories? He might just have sent it to his agent.
Of course.
And his agent might have told somebody else.
Yeah, of course. But I just think there's an element of shut up and work. We live in a world now, sorry to go down another rabbit hole, where it's not my fault, it's this. It's not my fault, it's that. Shut up and work.
One more point on the system, though. Okay, I know you hate me talking about
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Manchester United are built on wingers. Ruben Amorim is slowly but surely getting rid of all the wingers in that squad.
And how many of the wingers did you want to keep last year, the year before?
I'd like to see Ahmad play as a winger.
1. So how many wingers you had? 6, 7, 8. So again, it goes back to that same fundamental point. I agree with you. It's built on wingers. It's built on winning. It's built on football. I 100% agree with you on that. I can't disagree with you on that. But you haven't had it. Hence why you keep changing managers.
Talk of for exciting football. Jose Mourinho has been sacked as the Fenerbahce manager today. Where is he heading then? Because there's a lot of talk that he might come back to the Premier League. Is there anybody who would take the special one back at their club? I don't think Manchester United is a place that he will end up. I know that someone sort of suggested that. I think even Alan asked me about it on the breakfast show this morning. It's not that won't happen. All right, that isn't happening. But maybe with the unrest at Nottingham Forest, maybe at West Ham United, where there's a little bit of stuff going on at the moment.
Would he go to a West Ham?
Yeah, he would go back to the Premier League wherever in a heartbeat.
Oh, okay.
He loves the Premier League, he especially loves London.
Yeah.
So, he obviously still has his house in Chelsea, so he would definitely come back to the Premier League. I think any avenue that was offered to him.
I think the obvious one for me is Forest at this moment in time, with that uncertainty and the link with the ownership.
They want the exciting brand of football.
Yeah.
That's part of the issue.
Yeah, I get that. They're not. Is it win again? That whole model of winning. They've got winning football at the moment, or then do you change it to an exciting football and end up with what West Ham are? Because West Ham had a winning football under David Moyes, and trying to change that too quick, too soon, and we see where they're at this moment. I think he's always going to be in for a job. He's entertaining. Even as you look at it from a brand point of view, he raises the profile of your club instantly. I'd love to have him back.
Yeah, I mean, he's great for us because he's box office and entertainment. But speaking to people at Fenerbahce this morning, they weren't happy with the way he conducted himself.
He's yesterday's man.
Yesterday's man. I think that's a bit harsh. I think when you're talking
Remember,
about,
he's a nice person. He's always happy.
He's always opinionated. I think when you're talking about somebody that is as good as Jose has been, as good as Jose has been, you are in a situation where he's always going to do that.
Was he do 3? 3 league titles. That's me. That's what he says. And he won them all at Chelsea, didn't he? Of course. Did you see the award that Chelsea got yesterday? By the way,
go on.
Special award for winning all of the UEFA competitions yesterday.
What was it?
It was like a little plaque with all of the sort of, they
are calling themselves world champions now.
But that's what happens if you win the World Cup, Troy.
No, it's interesting.
I mean, that's what. How is it interesting?
It's interesting.
Unbelievable. Right, okay. Do you want your present?
Yeah.
Not overly, to be honest.
He needs his present.
We'll give it to him next. This is talkSPORT. We're going to talk a little about Sheffield Wednesday as well in the next few minutes as well, because that club, I mean, Manchester United think they've got problems. Imagine being a Sheffield Wednesday fan. We'll do that next. It is talkSPORT with Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. Oh, what did he say? You, Troy, you made me lose my composure. And then he turned around to me and went, you just trying to wind me up. Don't get so wound up.
Can I just say, for a more intelligent Manchester United debate, there is a United special on the talkSPORT Daily podcast.
Is that just full of Man United fans?
Myself and Flex.
Oh, God, yeah. Tell you what, it's got about... Anyway.
Okay, so we did get you a present, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we were going to bring this in a couple of weeks ago, but we thought today would be better. We know that you've had a tough month, because you've been very stressed as well, which is the reason he's sort of getting a bit sort of losing his temper today is because he's had a tough month. It's the transfer.
Everyone else is breaking the stories before him. He's getting nervous.
To be fair to him, I'm not going down that road with him because he does a very good job, but he doesn't like it when people ring him and ask him to go on programmes because he's just too busy.
Was it 4 times he was at the horse racing last week or 3?
But occasionally he does a bit of socialising. But occasionally, just occasionally, he can rub people up the wrong way. That is also true.
Very true.
Okay, so with the help of the Altai Bayern Deer and Andre Onana fan club, the Leeds supporters, the Norwich supporters, in fact, actually, I think there were donations from representatives of 91 of the 92 clubs, but mostly Tottenham fans, we have clubbed together to buy you a present, right? But you have to wear it.
You're going to mess my hair up.
Right, yeah, that doesn't take much, right? So this is your brand new. Do you want to see it? Do you want to just get it onto the screen? Do you want to read out what it says? Do you want to read out what it says? Just read out what the hat says. We bought you a baseball cap, a trucker cap. Could you wear it for us and tell us what it says?
Keep it salty.
Keep it salty. That's absolutely right.
See,
Go on, stick that on your head.
I've got a massive head.
Look at that. It fits perfectly. Look at that. Can you look at the camera so that they can get a good picture of it? That's it. Keep it salty. Look at that. That should be your new Instagram profile picture. Definitely. No doubt about it. You wear that for the rest of the show. I'm taking Jose over Harry Potter at West Ham every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. However, I do feel one of the teams in the old firm, which has a defeat of over 3 goals, might well see the job being offered to him, says one texter. Jose would fit perfectly at Leeds. Personally, I think Jose would be good at Watford, said Alex, the Watford fan. Could you ask Troy how he thinks that would work out?
Next question.
Troy tells Mainoo to shut up and work, yet he wrote an article saying Isaac should fake injury and ruin training sessions. Double standards?
No. Completely different stories, aren't they? You got a team that are willing to sell, and you got a player that wants to get out. Wanting to get out because you want to go and better your career at a team that's going to go and win Champions Leagues or be challenging for Champions League and Premier Leagues, and it being in a contract negotiation is completely different to a player that's not only not played the 2 games, but he's probably not played 4 games and saying, I want to leave to play more football. Completely different.
I've got to say, it's a great listen this morning, and Troy's a breath of fresh air with his opinion. Spot on, says Jackson, who's texted us. Keep them coming.
Nicholas Jackson.
89 on the text. 03717 223 It's Fun Boy Friday. Not so fun if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan. They've got problems. Stefan Chansiri is the owner, and this summer, they have lost their manager, 13 players. There's no board. They've repeatedly failed to pay the players and staff on time. They haven't got a CEO. They haven't got a sporting director. The owner's in charge of everything. He's running the club. Has been so concerning that it's been discussed at cabinet level. He's threatened, lightly in jest, but repeatedly, to sell Hillsborough for flats or shopping development, alarming staff and fans. And according to the Times, Chansiri also attempted bizarre money-making schemes that included selling African gold and launching a failed blockchain project. Fans have protested. They want him out. But is it going to happen? Here's Paul Hurst from the Times.
I don't think it will change hands anytime soon, just because Stefan Chansiri is so unpredictable in the way that he responds to interest and offers in the club. And, you speak to people who are involved in certain takeover groups who are willing to buy the club, really interested in buying the club. And these are serious people with a lot of money behind them. And one minute they'll say, we've heard that Chansiri is more open to selling than the other than we've ever heard before. And then a few days later, he'll ring him back up and say, actually, yeah, no, I'm not selling at all. So it is completely unpredictable in terms of like how he's approaching this and his thoughts at the moment. No one can second guess what he's doing. And ultimately, for that reason, I think it will come down to the regulator, because the regulator obviously has the power to step in and remove a license from an owner if that owner is not, if they don't think that he's the right person to be in charge of that club. And
but the regulator hasn't been established properly yet, right? And it's not actually at this moment operating. So this could be a further wait for Sheffield Wednesday supporters.
Yeah, that's the other problem. That the legislation was only passed for the regulator to come into reality on July the 21st of this year. So they are saying, if you talk to people at DCMS, they say that, steady on. We've got to get a CEO, we've got to get a board together, we've got to get a staff together to make this actually work. And they've also got to get secondary legislation to actually have these powers passed into law for them to take a club off an owner that they see that they don't think is fit enough to run that club. So
how long is that going to take? Because ultimately, this is a guy who keeps throwing around these threats that I could knock the place down and turn it into flats.
Yeah, it's from my conversations, I think we're looking at November time, which is so bad for Sheffield Wednesday fans, because we may have had the highs of the win against Leeds the other night and the League Cup win over Bolton, but at the same time, these are a bunch of kids who are they're not ready to be playing first team football week in, week out. The Championship is a really hard division, isn't it? So to be playing these lads every week is going to be really tough on them. And even like the senior pros, even 2 or 3 weeks into the season, I was looking at likes of Barry Bannon towards the end of the Wrexham game, and he was just knackered. And he's 35, and he's credit to the guy. He's one of Wednesday's greatest ever players, not just because of his skill and what he can do on the pitch, but what he did for this club. He could have left this summer on a free transfer, but he stayed at the club and signed a contract that was worth a third of the other two that were on the table to him from Middlesbrough and Millwall. So but he's he can't do it all himself, and Wednesday can't sign any players at the moment either, because the FL are asking for proof that the owner can pay the players, and they're not getting that. They're not satisfied that they're getting that. So at the moment, Wednesday have got a senior squad of around 14, 15 players, and the rest are just kids from the academy. And the best players that we had in the academy have been sold. Cadamartri, the young Cadamartri, Danny Cadamartri's son, he was sold to Man City. He was banging in the goals for the under 15s, under 18s, 21s, and now he's been sold to Man City for $1 million. So, that it's not a long term. Wednesday haven't got a long term, solution there in terms of the players that they've got. So they'll run out of steam pretty quickly, and heaven knows where they'll be in the table by November. And there's a possibility of a point deduction as well. So they could be rock bottom and some by the time that the regulator steps in. It's so bad that situation exists. The Supporters Trust, who have been brilliant throughout this, have set up a fund that's got more than 20 grand in it. That's from a crowdfunded fund. They're offering grants to staff of like 500 quid if they don't get paid on time. So staff are depending on handouts from the Supporters Trust when they've got a club that's worth, he's worth millions of pounds. Well,
he says he's worth 100 million quid, and he's only going to sell it if he gets 100 million quid, which he's probably not going to get for it. I mean, John Textor has been mentioned as a possible owner. I know you don't think that that's going to happen. You think it might be another American consortium. But how are we in this situation? Because actually, when he first came in, he did splash the cash, didn't he? But did he just has he basically just thrown his toys out of the pram because the EFL came down hard on him in terms of spending regulation?
You're right. He did spend a lot of money at the start of his tenure, but he spent it unwisely. Wednesday did get to got to playoff final, playoff semi-final, but that was they spent £8 million on Jordan Rhodes when they'd already got 6 strikers at the club. It was just completely unnecessary. The waste of the money has come down to Chansiri trusting advisors that have got in his ear, because he had a very limited acumen when it came to running a football club, or football generally. So you know what's happening in these situations. You know, football's an industry of hangers-on, isn't it? You get people, you know, who take over these clubs, and these advisors sort of suddenly appear and say, right, I know George Mendes, I know someone who works at Stella who's in there. I can get you good players. I can get you the best deals on this player, that player. And I think Chansiri has been a victim of that. He's had the wrong people advising him. They wasted a lot of money in the first 2 or 3 years, and then he's just turned the tap off, really, and to the point where none of the staff know whether there's going to be enough money in the bank to pay them on Friday, which is the next payday. So yeah, it's a really kind of sorry state of affairs.
That was Paul Hurst talking about the situation at Sheffield Wednesday. Look, I mean, we've got to break because it's the news, but very quickly, this is a serious situation at a big old famous football club.
Yeah, 100%. It's one of the institutes in of English football. Hopefully, it can get resolved, and fair play to the fans and the players that are still working under these difficult situations and still trying to get a resolution.
Yeah, supporters have protested against Chansiri's leadership, including carrying a coffin to symbolise the death of the club. They've showed great resilience. They were brilliant on Tuesday night. I was there for the game against Leeds United where the teenagers stepped up. They were superb. But there has been regulatory changes. Hopefully, when the regulator does come in, they'll have more of an influence so these situations don't end up happening across the country. This is talkSPORT. It looks like Newcastle are going to sign a new striker. Does that mean that the saga of the summer is going to be over?
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Supporting van owners to get the job done. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
2 minutes past 11. Good morning. Here are your sports headlines. Within hours of each other, Jose Mourinho and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer were both sacked from Fenerbahce and Besiktas, respectively. Could either be the successor to Ruben Amorim. Former United keeper Ben Foster says it's time for Ineos to think outside the box.
Maybe they've got to go a different way, and even if it's somebody like a Gareth Southgate, just give it a go. Somebody that's going to maybe change the mentality of the players, take a more pragmatic approach, because I think what they've been doing and what they're doing just isn't working at the moment.
Meanwhile, are Newcastle about to sign their Isak replacement? A £69 million deal has been agreed for the 6'6", 23-year-old German Nick Wolter-Marder, who our expert Kevin Hatchard has compared to Peter Crouch.
They call him Volta Messi in Germany because it's so unusual seeing this gangly guy slalom his way through challenges. I think they've got a good one there. I know it's a lot of money and it is a risk, but I think there is huge potential there.
So what does this mean for Liverpool? Well, Newcastle's conditions of sale for Isak have always been not one but two replacement strikers. Here's Ben Jacobs.
From Newcastle's perspective, I still think they want Johan Wissa, but Brentford don't want to sell at the moment. They want somewhere close to 45 or 50 million, and that's for a 28 come 29-year-old who's only got 1 year left on his contract plus a club option.
While Xavi Simons is on the cusp of joining Spurs for €60 million, whilst West Ham have signed Mateus Fernandes from Southampton in a deal which could rise to £42 million. It's a 5-year contract. And later today, Britain's two remaining singles contestants face stern tests in round 3 of the US Open. Cam Norrie is up against Novak Djokovic before Emma Raducanu takes on former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina.
talkSPORT News.
Parents are being urged to get their kids vaccinated against chickenpox when the jab becomes available on the NHS, and the Home Office will find out later if it's overturned a temporary injunction to stop asylum seekers being housed in an Essex hotel. Emma has more at 5:30.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Showers in the southeast will largely clear after lunchtime. Scattered showers across the UK across the afternoon with average temperatures.
Good morning to you. This is Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. We're here right the way through to 1 o'clock. Crookie's thrown his cap on his... He's so disrespectful. Giving you a cap. You're not happy with it. You're now showing Troy your text messages. Everyone can see what's going on. It's a nightmare.
Do you know what he's actually doing?
What's he doing?
He's showing me the clip of us two on talkSPORT already.
It's already out.
You know what he's like. He likes
a lively debate. Apparently.
He likes to make sure that he is there. If he is not the centre of it, he is not happy. In fact, actually, he was complaining about the weather to the newsreader just a moment ago. Will Hobbs, who said to him, "It's a system problem." Which did make me laugh. Newcastle said to sign Stuttgart star Nick Wolter-Marder, a move that has been made with the intention of the German international replacing Alexander Isak. Wolter-Marder is undergoing a medical after Newcastle struck a deal with Stuttgart. He's described as potentially a club record fee that is going to be spent on him. So is the saga of the summer over? Crook, does that mean that Isak is going to go to Liverpool?
I think it increases the possibility. They still want two strikers. Obviously, we know they're still interested in Johan Wissa, but at the moment, Brentford are holding firm on that. I spoke to Keith Andrews at Bournemouth on Tuesday night, and he seemed fairly confident that Wissa would stay. I asked him if it would be an issue reintegrating him into the squad. He said it'd be more of an issue if the window closes and he isn't here. But we'll keep an eye on that one.
Well, he was on this programme only a couple of weeks ago, and I spoke to him, and he said, I've got a good relationship with this kid, and if anyone is going to be able to keep him involved, it's going to be me because of the way we've worked together previously. So if he does stay,
then he should play and be
personality
and be
types as well, isn't it? This is a good kid, a nice kid. You haven't heard it. The biggest thing he's done is remove some pictures on Instagram
and refuse to train at one stage.
It's not, but like refusing to train is not like kicking up a force. I would transfer request.
It's a bit of a fuss.
It's not really.
Is it not?
Because you could just come in and just go, got a bad back. That's technically refusing to train. Do you know what I mean?
But in terms of this signing that Newcastle are making, he is a replacement for Alexander Isak. But in terms of numbers, he's a replacement for Callum Wilson. So there's still a striker short. I still think Newcastle will need to get another forward in order to reopen talks with Liverpool. But that offer is still on the table.
Strand Larsen still.
I think Strand Larsen is not a goer because if you look at this guy, he's 6'6".
Profile,
He's a very similar type of player. And to be fair, Wolves, who are a selling club, I think we can all agree with that. They've stood firm on Strand Larsen. He asked to leave. They said no. And I think they're aware that it's too late in the window to replace him.
Largely the biggest surprise of the summer is the fact that Fosun didn't sell one of their assets for a huge profit. Let's speak to, and I'll ask you a question about that actually in just a moment. Let's speak to Konstantin Ecker and find out exactly what kind of player they are getting then, because Crook has mentioned that he's very tall. He's 6'6". He's been compared to Peter Crouch. So tell us exactly what he's like. Konstantin Ecker is our German football expert, and he joins us now. Konstantin, thank you very much for coming on the programme. What are Newcastle getting for their 64 million quid?
They don't really get the number 9. I think a lot of people now expect, because he's 6'6", that he's a number 9. But Nick Woltemade is far from that. Usually he does his best work when he's in the two-striker setup, and sometimes even playing as a number 10. It's just because he's so tall that everyone thinks he's like a force inside the penalty area, which is not really his style, actually. During the summer, the under-21s championship, when Germany even faced England in the final, right? Nick Woltemade usually played behind the striker, and even the first game for Stuttgart during this Bundesliga season, he played basically as a number 10, even on the right wing. For some time during that game for Stuttgart, which would probably be his final game. So if people expect him to just be a number 9 in a 4-3-3 in the middle of the pitch between two wingers, then he might be miscast. He's very talented, technically very proficient, very creative, and you might not expect it when you see him, because he's 6'6", almost, I think 6'6", almost 2 meters tall. So that's why people expect him to be like this aerial force or something like that.
So in terms of that then, do you think he's worth the £64 million that Newcastle are paying for him? Has he shown the talent to be worth that money? And also, where does he fit into the Newcastle system then, right? Because they're looking for someone who's going to replace Alexander Isak. And from the way you're describing him, he doesn't sound like a like-for-like replacement. It sounds like they're going to have to change a few things to get the best out of him.
Yeah, we expect Eddie Howe to change his system to an extent, maybe to go to a 4-4-2, for instance, with two strikers. I mean, they are still pursuing other strikers, so a two-striker setup is at least feasible at this point. If they sign another one, and if Isak leaves, of course, you never know how these things turn out in the final days of the transfer window. And as far as the price tag is concerned, I mean, to an extent, Premier League teams right now are overpaying in general, I think, when it comes to Bundesliga players. I mean, look at Benjamin Šeško and how much he cost and what he has done so far for Manchester United. I mean, you have to be patient in a sense. And Nick Woltemade, he has one stellar season in the Bundesliga the last season. Before that, he had an okay season for Werder Bremen. And before that, he played third division football. He was the best goal scorer in the third division. But still, we are talking about £64 million. And Bayern Munich, earlier during the transfer window, they were going hard after Woltemade, wanted to sign him. And they offered 50 million euros, so less than 40 million pounds. And they thought that's an adequate price tag for Woltemade. Stuttgart declined, they wanted more, and now they get more.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his history here as well, and it's interesting that you just said that. Obviously, third division, he scored 10 goals in 32 games. So you would say he's not a natural finisher when the problem is he's going to be compared to Isak. How does the player deal with pressure is more what I want to know, because you're going to be replacing Isak, who's known for being a sharpshooter and a poacher, and his game's a bit more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Woltemade does his best work when he's setting up other players in setting up shooting opportunities for other players and make them the goal scorer, basically, because he's very creative. He can play all these kind of deadly passes through the opposing backline. And when it comes to pressure, I mean, we have to see, because he came out of Werder Bremen's youth academy. He was there for over 10 years. He played for Werder Bremen, then was loaned out to a third division team, a local team in a small city. He did great there. Then he came back to Werder Bremen, did also great there, and now he played for Stuttgart. Bit of a different story when you're all of a sudden signed up for over £60 million and expected to be the number one forward for Newcastle United, who are very ambitious right now. So we don't know right now, because he's untested in these kind of pressure situations.
Can I ask you, Constantine, about another player, Harvey Elliott? We've been reporting for a while on talkSPORT that RB Leipzig, led by Jurgen Klopp, who knows the player, are keen to take him to the Bundesliga. I was told this morning that the two clubs are still some way apart in terms of valuation. Is this a deal that you can foresee happening between now and Monday night?
I think so, because RB Leipzig, they will sell Xavi Simons. He is on his way to Tottenham, and that's close to being done as a deal. So they will sell one of their attacking midfielders, and they have to sign another one. Otherwise, I mean, they don't really have a shot at qualifying for the Champions League. And they are going after Harvey Elliott. I think it's about the price tag right now, and it's also about the kind of details of the deal. Is it a loan deal with a buy obligation and all these kinds of things? We have talked about these terms of transfers during the summer a number of times. And RB Leipzig, they don't want to pay a flat fee right now. They want to have a more structured deal. And that's why the two clubs are somewhat apart. But I think the closer the end of the transfer window comes, the more likely these deals get, actually, because then the selling club just agrees to some terms. And I think they don't want to have Harvey Elliott just sitting on their bench right now.
Constantine, thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on the programme and giving us a little bit of information about Voltemade and what he's going to bring to Newcastle United. It's quite fascinating, actually, and it'd be interesting to hear from Newcastle fans what they think this means for them and whether or not they believe that the saga of the summer is actually now coming to a close. 03717 223344. You can text us. It's 81089. You can WhatsApp us on that number, 03717 223344. And all of these deals are sort of depending on each other, aren't they? Isaac goes to Liverpool, so therefore there's money that's been spent at Newcastle United. Because Isaac's gone to Liverpool, there's a space in the squad that's taken up by Harvey Elliott, so he goes to RB Leipzig. Xavi Simons has gone to Tottenham, and that money pays for Harvey Elliott. So you can see the domino effect all over the transfer web because of the fact that one deal happens and it all filters through and down. There's been a lot of noise around Newcastle over the course of the summer, and everyone's been criticising them for not getting big names over. They've been linked with this one, linked with that one. But they've kept this one very, very quiet. And I wonder if they were ever really in for Jørgen Strand Larsen, or whether or not that was noise that was there to keep this one under wraps.
Well, it does happen, doesn't it, in the transfer window? But I don't think they would have made two bids without some interest in Strand Larsen. But you're right, this one I only really got wind of yesterday lunchtime, and by last night it was all agreed. But you say they've been hammered for their transfer dealings this summer. They've actually made some good signings, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got some great signings. Mm-hmm. Malik Thiaw is a brilliant centre-half, and I think he'll be excellent there.
Elanga's going to succeed there, I think.
Speedy, we were there on Monday night, Troy and I, and it was, they were, the reason they lost the game is because they got a little bit over-eager in that last few minutes, didn't they?
They were excellent. No, it's possibly the best game of football I've had the pleasure of commentating on. It was unbelievable. The atmosphere was fantastic, and fair play to Eddie and Newcastle for going. They had every opportunity to sit back and just soak it up. Gordon got sent off, Joe Linton got injured, Tonali got injured, and every time a setback happened, they just went bang, bang, and bang. So I'd ask you guys a question, because obviously you've been, Eddie Howe's #1 fan all this pre-season. Did you think he had any say in this, or did it not? Because he didn't want any of the other players that didn't come, so I'm just wondering whether he wanted this player or not.
What are you talking about?
I'm just asking. It's a simple question. Like when he doesn't want Seshko and that, he didn't want them.
Who said he didn't
Eddie.
want Seshko?
You did. No, 2 weeks ago. Did he not? The people he's been linked with, he didn't want.
No, there's been a lot of names attached to Newcastle that they weren't actually in for. But yes, Eddie has had a massive say in recruitment this summer because they've not got a sporting director. I like what you're trying to do there, though.
Just asking questions.
You're going to need your hat for the next section. because we're talking Spurs. Bill, tell me we've got Salty. We got Salty? You haven't got it? Or we got get Kate. Kate's got to phone up and do it all over again. 03717222344. This is talkSPORT. Xavi Simons on the verge of joining Tottenham Hotspur from RB Leipzig. What does that mean for Thomas Frank? And has he got the opportunity to get them back into European football? Has he got the squad to do that now? We'll talk about that next. This is talkSPORT. Our biggest competition to date has launched today, and it's not a night out with Keep It Salty. We're giving you the chance instead to win Oasis tickets plus a whopping, get this, 25 grand. Two lucky winners, not one but two, will win a pair of Oasis tickets when they return to Wembley on the 27th of September. Plus, that is not all. Alongside the tickets, we're giving you the chance to win a whopping £25,000. For all the details and how to enter this amazing competition, listen up right now.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Alex Crook and Troy Deeney with me, Sam Matterface, till 1. talkSPORT asked Crookie what the odds are of Amorim walking next week. I understand there is more fear Old Trafford than that of him being sacked, Dave, in Belfast.
Well, I don't think he's going to be sacked, that's for sure. Obviously, his comments post-match can be interpreted as a manager maybe contemplating his own future, and there was a stage last season when I think he offered to resign when results didn't go well. Managers don't tend to walk away from multi-million-pound Premier League contracts.
He's a different character, though, isn't he?
No, I also think, do you know what? One thing we didn't really get into because you were so sensitive earlier is
I didn't notice that.
you know the Amorim sitting down bit for the penalties.
You're going to defend that?
No, I'm saying I think as a manager and the leader of the club, you got to be stood there with your players. I know he doesn't like watching.
Simon was good on this on Thursday morning, actually, afterwards. He said, why?
Why? Because it shows for the rest, like all the lads are stood out there and you want to see your manager, your leader with you. It just looks...
Does it make a difference really, though?
Yeah, it does. Because
why?
Especially when you're getting down to 5, you go along like from penalty 6 onwards, not your natural penalty takers.
Is that not sorted out beforehand, though?
Yeah, but a lot of
because everyone has to take one if you go that far.
But not everyone wants to. Sometimes you want to look to the side and have a little bit of reassurance. Again, it's not my personal preference.
I think
I just think you need to be in front.
It's optics as well. Two things happened on Wednesday night. One was that him sort of carrying the dugout during the penalty shootout. And the other, for me, was his sort of Steve McLaren, Wally with a brolly moment when the rain was driving down. He was standing in the dugout playing with his tactics board. And I was screaming at the telly, don't do that, Ruben, because this is going to come back and haunt you. That's the image that was on the back page of all the newspapers yesterday morning.
Did you actually say, don't do that, Ruben?
No, it was definitely a lot worse than that.
Because you told me that you taught your kids some new swear words.
I felt bad for the kids.
Dear Troy, Sam, and the Europa League loser, I hope we get Simons. He is superb, as good as Eze, aged only 22, real quality. That's from Barry in Cheshunt. Come on, you Spurs. He says, Tom says, keep it salty has got to be Crookie's version of Here We Go that Fabrizio Romano uses. He's got to do it for the rest of the window at least. Tom in Wolverhampton. I think it's a good idea. So every time
catchphrase.
you do it, that's your catchphrase. Keep it salty. Look, it's here.
Just on the subject of Spurs, by the way, a little bit of breaking news. Manuel Akanji, latest club to show interest in him. And
interesting.
I get the impression that City are willing to part company with him.
So what do we make of this Xavi Simons deal? They look like they're going to get over the line for £52 million.
7 years.
It's exciting.
Contract.
Lost his way a little bit, I think, but he has got the ability. If you give him the right to play, and they do want a number 10, if you give him the right to be the fulcrum of the team, I think he can make you flourish.
Yeah, again, completely different scenarios with what we've been talking about today. But Thomas Frank is known for being a man manager, giving the players the freedom to showcase who they are under a framework of we're going to work hard as a team, and if you don't abide by the rules, i.e. Basuma, you'll be out and you'll have to try and earn your place back. I think it's a good signing. He has, as you say, he shows glimpses of what he can do, and he's clearly very, very talented. It's just whether he can do it on a consistent basis, isn't it? That Spurs will be. That's the only risk. Because if he was doing it consistently, he wouldn't be going to Spurs with the greatest respect.
Yeah, but we saw him in the European Championships as well. I mean, he can score some goals. I mean, the goal he scored against England was an absolute belter, wasn't it, from the edge of the area? And Spurs are in a good position. So this is another sort of feel-good thing that's happening just before their game against Bournemouth tomorrow, which I know both of you two.
Oh no, he's going to kick me off.
Oh no, he said I'm going to get you taken off it.
Yeah. So if our boss Jason is listening, do the right thing and kick him off it. Kick you off.
It's his day off.
No, but I think the Kanji deal is very good as well.
Yeah.
I think because again, when he's fit and available, he's solid, isn't he? But if he's not really going to be fit and available between the three, you'd like to think that over the course of the season that they'll always have a 2 available. So yeah, I like Akanji to Spurs as well.
Had a good start to the season so far. They've already picked up more points from the first 2 games of the season than they did the final 12 games of last season under Thomas Frank. Have you been impressed by the way he's gone about his business?
Yeah, and I'm impressed with the way he's adapted during games as well, because we've effectively seen 3 different formations in the 3 games. PSG, Burnley, it was sort of a 4-3-3. He played 2 holding midfielders against Manchester City, and it worked a treat because we were worried they'd get exposed in that area. He's a good manager, Thomas Frank. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And if he gets the resource, I think Spurs could end up having a good season. And we did say a couple of weeks ago that our sources at Tottenham were telling us there was money to spend. So we expected them to have a busy end to the window, and that looks like it's happening.
You tipped Manchester United to finish 5th. Do you think Tottenham will finish above them?
Can I retract that prediction already? I said 5th from bottom, didn't I?
No.
You both laughed at me last week, though, when I said if Spurs can get a couple more in, I think they can make Champions League places. And you both scoffed at me last week.
What, did we scoff at him?
Yeah, it was, I'll get mine to pull the tape. You heavier than him.
Okay. Right. What would Kate say about your assessment of Tottenham there? What do we reckon?
Ooh, salty.
Yeah. I think she'd probably go.
You've been waiting for that gag all morning, haven't you? Honestly.
Spurs are in a good place, though, aren't they?
In fact, we've got a request here from Alan who says, Alex, could you put the trucker cap on again? Because you do look a little bit like one of those. Have you watched that programme, The Ice Road Truckers?
Yes.
He certainly does, doesn't he? I could see him like bombing down the freeway in one of those big trucks, listening to, what would you be listening to? S Club 7
S Club 7 on the thought,
yeah.
I'm a terrible driver, so there's no danger of me becoming a trucker.
Thank God for that. This is talkSPORT. We've got the Europa League draws around about 12:15, and then the Conference League draw at 12:45 this morning. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, or Rangers and Celtic all looking to find out who they get in the next group stage of those competitions. And, of course, the England squad is announced at midday today, so stick with us because we've got a little bit of information, haven't we, that there's a new name in there?
Yeah, we think there could be a Nottingham Forest player called up for the first time.
Right, OK, we'll let you speculate on that. 81089 on the text. You can get in touch 037172233 44. It's talkSPORT with Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney every Friday with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
experts have compared him to Peter Crouch, a big man with a great touch who can also weave in and out of challenges. Our transfer reporter Ben Jacobs says it remains to be seen if Newcastle will now open the door to another Liverpool bid.
If you're Liverpool and you're looking at this profile and the money spent, you're taking encouragement, because regardless of who comes in, if it's 150, Liverpool won't be there. If it's closer to 120 million, they will be.
Jose Mourinho has been sacked by Fenerbahce just hours after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was fired by Besiktas. Could either succeed Ruben Amorim? Well, Ben Foster's told us Gareth Southgate could maybe do it, given his ability to change the mindset within a dressing room. Either way, he says a new goalkeeper is a must, and there are so many that have already slipped through their fingers.
I just don't know why they're not going out and getting a Donnarumma or an Emi Martinez, because I think once you get that goalkeeper sorted, I think that's just the building blocks of where you need to get to.
Elsewhere, talkSPORT understands Xavi Simons has had his Spurs medical and everything's been signed after a €60 million fee was agreed. Alejandro Garnacho's move to Chelsea has been agreed as well. The initial fee is £40 million with another 10 in add-ons. Get all the latest transfer lines at talksport.com.
talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. We're here through till 1 o'clock when the boys take over to preview the rest of the weekend's action. Clips of the week from 3:30 as well. Drive from 4. And tomorrow we're round the grounds with Adrian at 2:30. But before that, we've got Chelsea Fulham for you. It's live on talkSPORT. Special bonus commentary for you Sunday night, Aston Villa against Crystal Palace. And we are round the grounds on Sundays now as well. So it's Saturday and Sunday game day live. Sunday, 1:30 we start, and we are at Anfield, aren't we?
We are looking forward to it.
Going to wear your salty cap for that?
No, well, actually, I might need it.
Actually, you need it because you said to me earlier on, you've got to be my bodyguard on Sunday. You know,
if he is my bodyguard, I'm in trouble, aren't I?
You know, mate.
What?
Why do you
listen, need a bodyguard?
Well, because he gets harassed when he goes to Liverpool. That's what he's worried about.
No one cares.
They don't like me. They don't like me there. They don't like me there. They don't like you anywhere. Hey, I'm only joking. We're all about as popular as one another. Not very. All right, time now to catch up with the latest odds, all thanks to BetMGM.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit BetMGM.co.uk or download the app. 18+GambleAware.org.
With Dan Towles still dossing on holiday, he's just sent us a picture and he looks very sweaty. So the good news is that Charlie Robertson from BetMGM is a lot more presentable, and he's here to look at today's top sporting events and discuss the odds. Hello, Charlie.
Hi, Sam. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Let's start with the Champions League markets. Who are the early favourites after yesterday's draw?
Yeah, Barcelona actually are, Sam. They're 9-2. I think they got a pretty favourable draw. So, yeah, they're 9-2 favourites. Arsenal and Liverpool 6-1. Last year's winners, PSG, are 13-2 with Bayern and City 9-1 and Madrid 10-1. And just the other English side, Sam, Chelsea 12-1. Spurs, who actually massively shortened up. They were 40-1. They're now 20-1 after that favourable draw. And Newcastle went the other way. They're actually 40-1 now. Guys, I thought PSG probably 13-2 looked the value, but where do you guys sort of see the value in that market after that draw? Obviously, Barcelona got a fairly favourable one, but 9-2 is pretty short at this sort of stage of the campaign.
I like Real Madrid. Was it 10-1? You said Real Madrid.
Yeah,
I like that.
10-1, yeah.
Agreed. They've started the season excellently, haven't they?
Yeah, I think they'll be good, but I think Barcelona have added an extra year under Hansi Flick, so that is a favourable draw as well.
Big price
as you've already
for PSG
mentioned.
as the whole.
It is, but they've got a bit of a slightly difficult draw, didn't they? Really,
I mean, Tottenham Hotspur's draw is unbelievable. I mean, if you were Thomas Frank, the fact that you've got Borussia Dortmund, PSG, Villarreal, Frankfurt, Slavia Prague, Bodo Glimt, Copenhagen and Monaco. I mean, how has that happened? Chelsea have got Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Benfica, Ajax and Napoli. And Newcastle United have got an unbelievable draw. PSG, Barcelona, Benfica, Leverkusen, PSV, Marseille, Athletic Club Bilbao. I mean, crikey. Reshman's going to get some stick tomorrow when I see her. OK, Liverpool welcome Arsenal this weekend in what already is a huge fixture in the title race. What do you have for us on that one? Because it's not very often that two teams right at the very top meet this early.
Yeah, it's a huge game, isn't it? I think it will sort of massively show where both teams are, Sam, in terms of the title credentials. Liverpool, they're actually winless in 6 against Arsenal, but they are the favourites at 59-50. The Gunners, who haven't won at Anfield since September 2012, which actually when Mikel Arteta was in the side, shows how long ago it was. They're 12-5 to win the game, and the last 3 meetings have all been draws, and that's 5-2 chance. Guys, there's obviously loads of talk about Isak. We've actually suspended betting on him joining Liverpool, which probably shows all the news that's happened in the last 24 hours or so. But I wanted to sort of look at Gyökeres and Ekitike. We've got a golden boot market up, and Gyökeres is 6-1 and Ekitike is 12-1, which I thought was a little bit unfair on Ekitike given how well he started. Do you expect Gyökeres to score plenty more than Ekitike? Or could you see Ekitike, obviously, potentially with Isak coming in, scoring as many as Gyökeres and more potentially?
I think a lot of it depends on Isak coming in and where he'll end up playing. I think you'll see Ekitike moving out to the left and him and Gakpo sharing the workload when Isak's fit. So,
do you think Ekitike thought that Isak was going to join when he joined Liverpool?
No, but he's done well though, hasn't he? We have to admit he done well. Liverpool looked at a worse team when he came off on Monday night. I thought didn't have someone to look after the ball. But no, I think Gyökeres again. You don't know. He scored 2 against Leeds. It's not like, do you know what I mean? I don't mean that disrespectfully to Leeds because they're going to be great at home. I don't think they're going to be the same team away. So, I don't know.
Statistics to back up his goal-scoring prowess, but work conducted in mainly Portuguese football. 22 goals in the last 18 club appearances for Gyökeres. Ekitike scored in all 3 games for Liverpool since his arrival for £79 million. Look, the difference, I think, Charlie, is that Arsenal won't score as many goals as Liverpool. I think Liverpool will score more goals and therefore he will have a greater share. But I wonder whether or not, because Gyökeres is going to play every game, he's going to be the main source of Arsenal's goals. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was going to come back to you guys and say, based on Ekitike's start, it might be a silly question, but do you think Liverpool actually need Isak based on how Ekitike started? You do, Troy? You think he's...
Yeah, absolutely. We seen it firsthand on Monday night. That for as good as Liverpool are, their squad depth isn't as big as everyone thinks. When they took Ekitike and Wirtz off, it went, did it? The structure and the quality level dropped. So they're still playing Szoboszlai right back at the moment. No one's talking about Liverpool having an injury crisis or any issues at this moment in time. So I still think they need to get 2 or 3 in personally.
What odds did you have, by the way, on Troy winning Celebrity SAS? Because we should have all piled into that. We didn't, did we? That was ridiculous on our behalf.
No, there was a lack of trust. Rookie hasn't even watched one, so that shows.
My wife's watching it for me. She feeds back.
If he had known that there was a betting market and you
100%.
already knew the answer, he'd definitely have been, go on, Troy, tell me. What happened, Troy? Go on, what happened? Oh, go on, I really like this bit. I'm feigning interest. Anyway, each week we'll be placing a prediction of some sort of upcoming game on Golden Goals. If we correctly guess the exact scoreline on the ones that you distribute, BetMGM will donate £500 to our chosen charity, Prostate Cancer UK. So what are we doing this week and where did we get to last week?
A little bit better than the week before, Sam. You got the correct result in the Leeds Arsenal game, but still no correct.
What did I go for?
I think you said 2-0 and it was 4-0. So you were on the right lines, but hopefully we can do a bit better this week. We'll kick off with you, Sam. You've got Tottenham versus Bournemouth.
Okay, I'm going to go Tottenham 2, Bournemouth 1. I think Bournemouth will score. But it'll be an interesting clash of styles, this, because they're two teams that both want to press high. Both teams are pretty adaptable. They work very, very hard now. So I think it's going to be a sort of quite attritional game, but I can see the odd goal in it. So I'm going to go for Tottenham because they've made a really good start and there's a feel-good factor, especially at home. So I'm going 2-1 Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, both teams have scored in 4 of the last 6 meetings between these two, Sam. So, and as you say, Spurs have made a great start and made some really good additions. Obviously, Simons looks like he's on the way as well. So some really good additions to the squad. But that 2-1 prediction's a 7-1 shot, which I think looks a fair call. Troy, up for you next. You've got Leeds v Newcastle in the evening kickoff.
How did he get on last week, first of all?
Not
Terrible, I think.
great, I don't think.
Yeah, terrible. I don't even know. Who did I have? Can't remember.
Give me 2 seconds.
No, don't worry. Leave it alone. It's fine.
You did.
I've actually just changed my prediction as well. That's why I was late back into the studio.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I'm going for, I've got Leeds versus Newcastle. I'm going for Newcastle to win. I did say 3-1, but I think it's going to be 2-1 because I forgot about the injuries and obviously Gordon being out, Tonali and Joe Linton being injured.
You think Leeds will score?
Yeah, Ellen Road, I think that's going to be a fortress. We were there opening night against Everton and I thought it's going to be a real rocking atmosphere. I think the injuries have going to change that for Newcastle, but I think Newcastle will win 2-1.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Troy, a few big guns out, the likes of Gordon, Tonali. But Newcastle have won all of their last 8 against newly promoted sides. So yeah, I think that 2-1 call looks a fair shout again at 7-1. Finally, Crookie, and I'm sure Brighton fan Dan Towles will be listening in for this prediction. You've got the Brighton v City game on Sunday.
He's on the Sun Lounger. I think this is a tough one because I think there's cases to be made for both teams winning the game. Obviously, City need to bounce back. Pretty underwhelming start to the season for Brighton as well, really. A couple of games that have been targeting wins in and obviously haven't managed to do that. I've gone for an entertaining 2-2 draw.
Yeah, that's a 19-2 shot, Crookie, which I think looks a fair call. Brighton were actually unbeaten against City last season and they drew 2-2 with them at the Etihad. Just before I go, guys, a bit of trivia for you. If Fabian Hertzler avoids defeat, he'll become just the second manager to not lose to Pep Guardiola in his first 3 top-flight games against him. Can you name the other one?
Is it Ollie? Solskjaer? Nope.
Thomas Frank?
Nope. One more guess. Troy, any ideas?
Oh, Thomas Tuchel?
Nope.
I ain't got a Scooby, mate, I'll be honest.
Ronald Koeman.
Wow.
We would have been here all day trying to get that one. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thanks,
that, Charlie. Guys. Lovely to speak to you. Thank you very much. That was that was BetMGM. Thank you very much to them for giving us all the odds. Visit betmgm.co.uk. You can download the app and you can browse through what they've got on offer there today. 18+, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Troy, I've got to be really good here, go really quickly, because otherwise we're not going to get to Alex Crook's big pre-recorded interview. So we should quickly get to the break, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, not much. You ordered the drinks yet?
I did, yeah. We just don't want to delay it too much, though, because otherwise, then we might run out of time for it and won't be able to use it. Yeah.
You got part 2 of your Paul Hurst exclusive.
He's not happy about anybody else doing any other interview apart from him. Where's my interview, he said earlier on today. Well, it's coming up next. He's been speaking to Harry Wilson ahead of our live commentary tomorrow, Chelsea-Fulham.
It's talkSPORT. Our biggest competition to date has launched, and we're giving you the chance to win Oasis tickets plus a whopping £25,000. 2 lucky winners. Yes, not one. 2 will win a pair of Oasis tickets when they return to Wembley on the 27th of September. Plus, that's not all. Alongside the tickets, we're giving you the chance to win a whopping 25 grand. For all the details of how to enter this amazing competition, listen to this.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus 1 standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
talkSPORT brings you live commentary tomorrow of Chelsea against Fulham. The West London derby kicks off at 12:30, and our chief football correspondent Alex Crook has caught up with Bournemouth's Harry Wilson, and the Welsh midfielder started by giving him an update on exactly what happened against Bristol City and his small knock that he picked up in midweek.
Yeah, it's okay. I just felt a little something in my foot, but I think I'll be okay.
Great news. And obviously a big game coming up this weekend against Chelsea at a ground that has happy memories after last season.
Yeah, of course. We had an amazing win there last year. I think to get a win at Stamford Bridge at any time is great, but to do it in the way we did last year, scoring so late on, was amazing for us players, amazing for the fans, amazing for the club. So yeah, if we could do that again, great. But we know that we're going to have to be on the top of our game, because Chelsea have showed in the summer what a good team they are, and I think last week against West Ham how clinical they can be. So we need to make sure that we're on it.
The first time that Fulham have won at Stamford Bridge for many a year, I seem to remember. And am I right in thinking that Marco Silva, your manager, sort of gave the team talk along those lines, that it was time to go and make history?
Yeah, so I remember before the game we did our tactical work like we always do in the meetings and watched the videos and whatnot. And then I think it was either at the start or the end of the meeting, the gaffer put it up on the board. He said how long it had been since a Fulham team had won there, and to be part of a team that, that broke that was amazing, yeah.
And what about the aspirations for the team this season? Because it was a record-breaking season in the Premier League last year. Is challenging for Europe the next step for you?
Yeah, I think we had a real chance. I think around March in international break time that Europe was a real possibility, and unfortunately it slipped away from us towards the end of the season. But we still managed to break the records points total for the club. So I think this season's all about building on that. We want to do it. We want to do it again, and hopefully, if we do, that'll, like you said, take us up into them European places where I feel we've really got the squad to do that.
It's been a quiet summer, really, in terms of incomings for Fulham. But was the best piece of business keeping hold of your manager Marco Silva? Because there are a few Premier League clubs, I think, and clubs abroad who were casting admiring glances in his direction.
Yeah, I think, like you said, we've not made many signings, but I look at our squad and I go back to that Forest game in the Algarve where we play a first team starting 11 in the second half, and then we play a first team starting 11 in the first half as well, where I look at them and I think they played their first team in the second half, when I look at their team in the first half and they only had maybe 3 or 4 senior pros. So although we've not made many signings, I think our squad's really, really strong. We have a couple of senior players in each position on the pitch. So although everybody wants new signings, I look around the dressing room now and we're still in a really strong position. And yeah, I think keeping hold of the gaffer was huge as well. He's shown the last few seasons the way he sets us up, the way we approach games. What a fantastic manager he is. We never go into any games to sit back. We make changes in some games to maybe be a bit more conservative, but the goal is to always win the game, and I don't think that'll change this season.
Talk to me about Wales. Obviously, a big World Cup qualifier coming up against Kazakhstan during this international break. Are you confident that you can be part of the tournament proper next summer, that you can qualify?
That's definitely the goal. I think the way we're playing at the minute, I think we're playing really, really, really well. I think the games in the summer, we had a good win at home, and then we go to Belgium, and I don't think many teams go there, score 3 and end up losing the game. But we have to take a lot of positives from the way we played, the way we got back in the game that day, and I think if we can yeah, if we play to the level we know we're capable of, then we can get the result out in Kazakhstan. And I think it will be tough I think it's on a 4G pitch. The travel's obviously really, really far, but we can't use that as an excuse. We need to make sure we're ready to go out there and get the job done. And then I think the October game is when we welcome Belgium to Cardiff. And I think if we play as we did out in Brussels, then there's no reason why we can't get a result against them and put ourselves in a really strong position to get to America next year.
What impact has Craig Bellamy had on you personally since taking the job?
Yeah, it's been massive, not just for me, but for the team as well. But I think for me, the position he plays me in, I think really suits me. I think I play a little bit more inside. I kind of have the license to get forward, and when we lose the ball, I know the role I play off the ball. So I think the way he sets the team up really suits the kind of the style of player I am. But I think the way he wants us to play really suits the individuals we have in our team. Like I look at Brennan and Dan James on the wing, Sorba Thomas, who's been really, really good as well. And I think the way we play now, like I said, suits the individuals. And I think we've shown in his first 9-10 games that we can compete and beat anybody.
That was Harry Wilson talking to our chief football correspondent, Alex Crook. Actually, Fulham are the only team in the Premier League going into this weekend with a clean bill of health. They take on Chelsea at 12:30 live on talkSPORT. We've got the England squad announcement coming up next, so stick with us.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
The latest England squad is nearly upon us, and we understand it will include Forest's Elliot Anderson, but a different story it appears for Trent Alexander-Arnold. The full squad announcement will drop live on talkSPORT in moments. Before that, Jose Mourinho has been sacked by Fenerbahce hours after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer lost his job at Besiktas. Mateus Fernandes is a West Ham player. He's moved from Southampton for £42 million, and Xavi Simons is very, very nearly a Tottenham player, having completed his medical.
talkSPORT News.
We have got the New England squad, and there's some big additions to it. Trafford, Spence, Livramento, Wharton, all in the squad. Faye Carruthers is our England correspondent, and she can tell us exactly the 26 names that are in it. Faye, hello.
Hello, how you doing? I can indeed. I'll read them out and then I'll go through the headlines with you, Sam. So 3 goalkeepers. By the way, just to let you know, it's a 24-player squad this time, so 2 shorter than the 2 fewer, I should say, than the June camp. Dean Henderson, Jordan Pickford and James Trafford all in as they were before. No Trent Alexander-Arnold. Dan Burn is in. Mark Guehi is back. Reece James, Esri Konsa, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Tino Livramento is recalled. Jed Spence gets a maiden call-up, and John Stones is back as well. And in terms of midfielders, Elliot Anderson, as we've been reporting on talkSPORT all morning, is in for his maiden call-up. Morgan Gibbs-White retains his place. Jordan Henderson does too. Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers and Adam Wharton is back after his exploits with the under-21s. This is the first time that he'll play under Thomas Tuchel. In terms of the forwards, Jared Bowen, Eberichi Eze, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Noni Madueke, Marcus Rashford and Ollie Watkins. So no Ivan Toney, who was called up in June as well. It almost feels a little bit more telling, I would say, Sam. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, about the omissions, not just those who've been added in. We obviously knew that there would be no Bukayo Saka. Cole Palmer is confirmed as clearly being injured and not being able to be brought up into the squad. But some of the players left out, Trent Alexander in particular, and Kyle Walker, who had a torrid game, if you remember, in that 3-1 defeat against Senegal, not selected.
Yeah, not only that, but I can't see the name of Phil Foden in that squad either. He was also left out in the summer.
Yep.
So no Walker. Obviously, he's made the move to Burnley in order to sort of make sure that he is on the radar for Thomas Tuchel, but not involved. Just wonder whether or not, with James getting back to full fitness and Livramento playing as well as he is, that is going to be Thomas Tuchel's primary 2 right backs now. And you mentioned about Trent Alexander-Arnold. He didn't start for Real Madrid at the weekend against Real Oviedo. Only came on for 3 minutes at the end. So I just wonder whether or not they're letting him bed in there and then see what happens. Not 100% sure. An out-and-out right back anyway, especially not in the system that Thomas Tuchel was going to play. Fascinating that you've got no Phil Foden in there. That's the one that really, I think, is going to cause headlines later down the line, because although he wasn't in the squad last time around, you know, this is a player who has been described as a generational talent over the course of the last few years. And it's amazing, really, when you think about it, that the likes of him and Mason Mount, 2 players who were massive in the Euro 2020 squad, are no longer regularly involved with the national team. Dan Burn being in there is sort of like a sign, really, of the fact that he's cemented his place in the squad. Jordan Henderson looks like he's going to stick around as well, Faye, because of his influence. But Adam Wharton making it in, I must admit, I spoke, and you did as well, because you were with me when we did it, when we spoke to Thomas, and I wasn't sure he was going to make it, but obviously he has decided that is an area they need strengthening in.
Well, without a doubt, the midfield has been a problem. Who's going to partner Declan Rice has been a conversation we've been having for a number of years now, since Calvin Phillips fell out of favour. So I think it's really vital that he looks at Elliot Anderson and has a proper look at Adam Wharton, because although he has trained with the seniors when he was with the England under-21s, and obviously then played a key part in their victory this year under Lee Carsley in the European Championships, Thomas Tuchel hasn't seen him in and around the camp all the time and hasn't been able to field him as a competitive player, and he's going to be playing in Europe now for Crystal Palace this season. So maybe this is the time to see whether Adam Wharton can be that player, or whether Elliot Anderson can. What is key is to have reinforcements there that are genuine contenders to play next to Declan Rice and see what perhaps works best. I just want to go back to your point on Phil Foden, though, because actually it wasn't that he wasn't selected in the June camp. He didn't make himself available for selection. He said that he needed some time out. He had some personal things going on behind the scenes. And I did wonder at the time whether that might count against him, particularly bearing in mind the conversations that we've had about how you fit in Cole Palmer, Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden. He doesn't have that problem this time round because none of them are available. So that is, well, potentially Phil Foden is available but hasn't been selected. That, I think, is really important. And then who's going to step into that place? I mean, we've seen Eze move to Arsenal already. Could he play in number 10? A lot of talk this morning has been whether or not Jack Grealish could potentially have been recalled as well. That's not happened for him. That's another name who, it's way too early in the season to be sitting there and thinking perhaps, 2 assists in playing for Everton the other day, wins him into the England squad straight away.
You say that, but that was the
if
talk
he
this
can
morning, wasn't
perform,
it? The headlines this morning were
I know.
all about it.
Well, of course, but that's the media, isn't it, Sam? we're in that business. We generate those kind of headlines, and I think he definitely would have been in contention, but still hadn't played perhaps enough football towards the end of his time at Manchester City, and we've only just seen him bedding in with Everton. So I think that will be really interesting in terms of Jack Grealish come October.
OK, I think it's imperative, isn't it, that England get not only a result against Andorra, but put in a performance after the tough time they had in the summer, the game against Andorra away and the home slip up against Senegal. It is just as much about performance as it is about result. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that's fair. We all sat through it, and then we sat through the Senegal game. And, the last 25 minutes or so of the Senegal game, the end of the second half, when they were chasing the game, it was a bit more exciting to watch, but certainly the Andorra game wasn't. And we know how many times have we seen England struggle to break down a team that defends really deeply. That's what happens in World Cup qualifying, so they're going to have to find those creative outlets and ways to do that. And Thomas Tuchel has talked about being patient. I was quite surprised to see, look, there's still 4 camps, aren't there, this one included, until the World Cup, which doesn't sound very many, but actually is more if he still doesn't know who his team is going to be. But I did think that this might be a more settled team that we would seen, but still 2 new additions. He's still trying out players. Adam Wharton being brought back in as well. I found that really interesting, and when I sit down and speak to him after 2 o'clock, he hosts his press conference at 2 o'clock this afternoon, and then I'll sit down and do a one-to-one with him afterwards. I'm really fascinated to hear his thinking behind this squad.
Yeah, I know you're speaking not only to Thomas Tuchel, but maybe one of the players or something later on as well, or certainly will be over the course of the next few weeks. You're going to be back in camp next week when they all get together, and I know that you'll be in and around it and bringing us all the exclusive information. So we look forward to the Thomas Tuchel interview later on, and the rest of the stuff that you do with us over the course of the next week. Jude Bellingham out because of shoulder surgery. Cole Palmer out because of a groin injury. Bukayo Saka out as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold not selected. Spence in, Wharton in, Elliot Anderson in, Stones in, no Walker, no Maguire, no Foden, and Rashford is back, and Madueke and Eze obviously in the squad as well. Thanks to Faye Carruthers for bringing us that information. Your initial reactions to the big story. I suppose no Jack Grealish. We mentioned it there. That was touted this morning, wasn't it? So it sort of gives me the impression that he was on the long list.
Yeah, Anthony Barry went to watch him, didn't he, against Brighton, and obviously did really well, 2 assists in that game. I think Thomas Tuchel appreciates that if he's fit and firing, Grealish brings something different. He is that maverick, isn't he? That enigma, difficult for opposing defenders to play against. So I think he's got a great chance of being on the plane if he can have a good season at Everton. I saw you scribbling away, and you're a little bit surprised, as I am, by the inclusion of Ollie Watkins. I think actually that just highlights the lack of number 9, the lack of backup options to Harry Kane.
Well, he didn't fancy Ivan Toney, hence why he gave him 2 short breaths at the end of the game against Senegal. So you didn't expect that he was going to be in the squad. I don't think many people expected that he was going to be in the squad again. So there isn't that many alternatives.
No, look, I'm in the like, it's got to be a personal thing, like a personality fit with Ivan. Can't be a football thing because you brought him up in the last one. Again, everyone thinks they've got a bit of an issue with this kid, but Rashford being involved, Jack's not involved because he hasn't played enough minutes, but Rashford, who has played less minutes, is involved. Like, I just think we make these arguments as to why people aren't in instead of just going like, this is who he's chose. So for me, I just think it's an okay squad, isn't it? It's not an overwhelming. There's nothing that
doesn't excite me much.
Yeah, but the games don't. But the games don't really call for that as well. So I think
it's Andorra at home, and then the toughest away game that they're going to have in World Cup qualifying, which is Serbia away. That is going to be their toughest game. But the way that their qualifying has gone so far, they've picked up their maximum points, and Serbia have dropped points to Albania in a grudge match. So it's there for England to take, and they probably will end up winning the group. So you are without Jude. He's injured. Yeah. You are without Cole. He's injured. You are without Bukayo Saka. They're injured. Those three players cannot make it. So it is going to be a slightly different squad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's nothing that makes you jump out. But I think you can't say that Tuchel's done anything wrong because he's done everything right so far. I just feel that we're going through the same cycles of we win all these bits easy, get qualified easy, but we don't really know what Plan B is.
Well, the only way you get to work on Plan B is by having games like this where you haven't got your frontline talent and using the alternatives.
Yeah, but he's got to play Harry Kane, is he not? If Harry Kane's injured, then what we got?
The makeup of the midfield.
So, I mean, like I'm saying, we do the same thing. Sorry to interrupt. We do the same thing. Like Harry Kane played all those games over the summer. We know what Harry Kane's going to bring you. Do you know? Just at my point, we didn't get to see what Solanke did. We didn't get to see what Ivan did.
Would you have Solanke in the squad then ahead of Watkins or Rashford?
I think you'd be struggling. I think Ollie has to be in, but I don't think he's had a good start to the season. I don't think Villa have had a good start to the season, and he certainly hasn't done enough that would warrant you going, right, he's a shoo-in.
The fact that he's only named 24 names when he could have named 26, does that tell you that he's tightening the pool of players from which he's going to choose?
Yeah, and I think you have to do that. Listen, they are going to cruise through qualifying. There's no question about that, but this is about preparing a squad for the World Cup next summer. So having only picked 24 players, obviously it would have been more but for the injuries. But if you are fit and you haven't made the cut, bearing in mind he's taken fewer players than he could, I think it's going to be very difficult now to be on the plane for the States next summer. I'm pleased he's seen sense with Adam Wharton because there was a feeling that maybe he didn't fancy him as a player, but I think he brings something different. I think the makeup of the midfield is going to be fascinating, actually, bearing in mind the absentees that you've mentioned. Saka and Cole Palmer, if fit, probably guaranteed starters in his best choice 11. So someone's going to have
Palmer
to replace
starting
them.
over Jude?
Well, I think you make a space for all three of them, wouldn't you? If they're all on form.
Well, that's the conundrum that he's got, and that he's open about that. He said, you know, when we've spoken about it, that the fact is that midfield is something that he needs to get right, and he doesn't think that Jude and Declan Rice can play together as the two holders. He wants to reconfigure that slightly. I don't think it's fair to say that he didn't think Adam Wharton was a player. I think he thought that he didn't know where he could fit into the to the 11.
I hope he doesn't play Jordan Henderson in the game against Andorra. Let's give one of the younger lads a chance.
Well, he might do.
Because again, we know what Henderson's going to bring, don't we? Do you agree with me, though?
I agree with you. I've been saying it since the summer, but FA Sam is going to get us told off. So we have to
I'd give Dean Henderson you know what Pickford's
you say what you want to say, but I thought that you would, as a captain, as a leader in the dressing room, understand the reasons behind it better than we would.
Yeah, of course. But my point is, we know what we're going to get. So when it really matters, you want Jordan Henderson in the squad. Of course we do. But you don't get to see what an Adam Wharton could do.
Or an Elliot Anderson.
But he doesn't have to play this time, does he? I mean, he
will.
But if he doesn't, and he's in and around the squad, will you be happy?
Yes,
because he's there.
I'm not unhappy.
He's trying to marshal the squad. He's the one who's got to corral that group.
I agree.
So
I'm
not
unhappy that he's in the squad. That was Crookie that brought that up. I think he actually played.
I think he needs to play.
Yes, I agree.
Well, he might not.
But I think that, but he will.
He didn't play against Senegal, did he? No, he didn't play against Andorra last time. He came off the bench.
So he played.
He came off the bench.
so he played.
Anyway,
but he's done well. He done well for. He has done well for Brentford since he's been back in. They, especially game against Villa, more compact, more together. And he was very, very good, I must admit.
Okay, if you want to give us your thoughts on the England squad, it's at FA Sam on Twitter. Only joking. Troy Deeney is here. Alex Crook is here. Andy Brassell is here as well to look forward to the Europa League and the Conference League draws in just a moment. It's all kicking off in this hour. And hello to Justin, who's in his car at the moment listening to this show. Thank you very much for choosing us this morning. We appreciate it. This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface and Alex Crook with Troy Deeney. It's with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
Good morning. It's not good morning, it's afternoon now, isn't it? Alex Crook is here, spilling his coffee all over the studio with Troy Deeney. He's also here, and so is Andy Brassell, our European football expert, one of our wonderful presenters from Trans Euro Express, which is a brilliant programme on a Sunday night. And those of you who listen to that programme will be familiar with Andy's work, but also with a lot of the teams we're about to talk about, because the Europa League draw is going to start. Do they have balls now, Andy? Because they didn't have balls just a moment ago.
No, it's been taken up a level this year. They had a magician come and make the balls disappear in a cloud of smoke. Wow. It was a little bit like, do you remember when Santi Cazorla was presented at Villarreal and they had that little body tube, sort of like Austin Powers appears in, and there was a cloud of smoke, and all of a sudden it's Santi Cazorla in Villarreal kit. Yeah.
There you go. That's the kind of sort of reveal we should have done for your hat earlier.
Could he make you disappear? That'd be quite good for the final 40 minutes.
Well, it would be great, wouldn't it? Because then we wouldn't be picking on you all morning for coming up with stupid arguments. Is this draw going to work properly? Is the system okay?
Well, of course, I suppose you could say we had the dummy run in the Champions League yesterday. So we know what fixtures are coming out, but we don't know what order they're in until Saturday. So we can't sit here and go...
Is there any need for a draw, really, nowadays?
Well, you could ask that, but it is a big thing for UEFA, obviously. It's, the galaness of it is important. I mean, it made better sense when you had the Super Cup in the same week, in the same place at Monaco. Having said that, I think what's interesting is it's great opportunity for executives from European clubs to meet. We know like a couple of transfers are being hammered out by clubs who are there, for example, at the moment.
We've had a lot of discussion about Voltemade and Xavi Simons on this programme already today. Voltemade, what Newcastle fans can expect, and he's the kind of player that isn't going to fill the Alexander Isak void like for like. He's a different type of player. That's what Konstantin Ekner was telling us.
I think he could replace Isak quite faithfully, actually.
Do you?
Because I think if you're looking at him, he's a very atypical striker. There's no one quite like him, which is why Bayern wanted him so badly, because they thought he could sub Harry Kane when Harry Kane wasn't available, or maybe to give him a rest, or he could play with Harry Kane, which is a huge compliment to Voltemade, that Bayern think he could do either of those two jobs. That he could almost be Musiala while Musiala's not there, even though they're different types of player. And Voltemade is such a quick learner. People have known he's had potential for ages. He was amazing, especially in the second half of last season. But you look at him and immediately you think target man. But he's not. Actually, he's happy with the ball at his feet. He's happy going past people. He's good at bringing others into play as well as being an improving goal scorer. But the thing is, I mean, I spoke to a few people about him this summer and they're like, he's 6'6". Shouldn't he be better with his back to goal? Turns up for the Super Cup. And rather than Alex Isak has obviously been sitting out for a reason, but Voltemade desperately wanted to go, but he's been training hard to improve a bit of his game. You look at his hold-up game now, is monstrous.
Talk to me about the Europa League draw then, because Rangers have just come out and their fixtures have been decided. They've got some tough opponents there.
Yeah, the top half is particularly Roma at home, Porto away, Braga at home. So they're tough. Ferencváros, of course, coached by Robbie Keane as well, who will be very disappointed that they didn't actually make the Champions League. Sturm Graz have been decent in the Champions League. Genk, obviously, very good producers of players over the years as well. So there are some tough games in there. But again, they'll be a little bit sore that they didn't make the the Champions League too.
Oh, big one for Aston Villa. One of their fixtures is going to go going back to Rotterdam.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to play Feyenoord, who've improved a lot under Robin van Persie. I thought that was a strange appointment. Obviously, there's the connection of him as a player, but I didn't think he was quite ready for it. He's proved everyone wrong so far. He's been brilliant. Celtic also going to Feyenoord.
Oh, interesting. We were just getting the draw happen as we're speaking here, and there's a couple of more teams to come out before we get into Aston Villa territory to get their full run of fixtures, because they're towards the bottom of this pot, aren't they? They're pot one, is that right? Aston Villa, they just sort of keep dropping down all the different fixtures. They're likely to get, well, they get 2 from pot one, don't they? 2 from each pot.
Yeah, that's right.
So they've got Feyenoord as one of those teams. Be interesting to see who's next. It's quite fascinating to see that the draw is done by not the sort of balls in the pot anymore. It's almost a little bit like a great big plunger that Jurgen Klinsmann is pressing.
Yeah, for the 40-somethings, it's a bit like going for gold, isn't it? Having a European man smashing a button and all the magic happens. Yeah, of course you don't.
Never used to bunk off the score and watch that. What a programme that was, by the way. That must have been syndicated. Real Betis have got Nottingham Forest in Betis, it looks like. Yeah, in Seville.
Yeah, that's right. And again, we're going to find out the next run of fixtures now. And Nottingham Forest, yeah, that's right. It's a huge game for them. Now, obviously, Betis away is normally very atmospheric. Mm-hmm. They're spending 2 years out of their stadium now while it's being reconstructed. They're at the Olympic Stadium, La Cartuja, where the Spain national team plays sometimes. It's funny, you'd think that would make a massive negative difference to Betis. Mm-hmm. They had 55,000 in, and it was so loud for their first home game last season. So they're determined to really make it home.
Rangers fixtures out, as we've already mentioned. Russell Martin's team, do you think they'll be better suited to European football than they have been or Europa League football than they have been to Champions League football, or attempting to get in the Champions League?
Well, I think it was always a tall order to get in the Champions League, because as we discussed with Martin O'Neill on Monday's show, it's not a very good Rangers side. It's turned out it's not a very good Celtic side either. In fact, Scottish football is down in the dumps at this moment in time. But I think the saviour for Rangers in recent years, when they've trailed Celtic by so many points in the league, has been that they've punched above their weight in Europe. So there will be expectation on Russell Martin to do that again.
Aston Villa's fixtures have just come out complete, and Andy, they look pretty favourable off the bat.
They are. I mean, I guess like there are 3 away games that you're having a look at, which are Feyenoord and Fenerbahce are the really big ones, I suppose. Although no Jose Mourinho anymore, which is a big thing. They're going away to Basel as well, who are in the last round of the Champions League qualifiers. But I think you're pretty happy with that if you're Aston Villa. Of course, they're playing Bologna as well. They played them in the Champions League last season.
But also as well, Villa it's a different Villa team, isn't it, this year to last year? So I think if they had last year's team with the confidence, I'd say it's an easy run. I think Villa are in transition. They don't look good at the moment.
I guess the question is, Troy, what do they do over the next couple of days? If they get Asensio back, that's enormous for them.
But they're talking of losing Tielemans.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that would be a downer for them. Look, there's so much that could happen over the next couple of days. But like honestly, Asensio was one of the best players in the Premier League in the second half of last season. He was so good. We know the financial position they're in, and that's partly affected by the fact they didn't get in the Champions League on the final day of the season, of course. But they're one of the absolute favourites for this competition. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, just when you're talking about Asensio, though, I watched the Brentford game, and there was so many players wanting to play inside. John McGinn, Rodgers, Buendia even came on. Everyone wants to play inside, and Asensio plays inside, and he demands the 10. I just think they lose so much with Morgan Rodgers in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Rodgers' team. You know, that's the bottom line, isn't it? But if Villa are going to go all the way, they're going to play 55, 60 games. So you can't flog him for all of that time, can you?
Salzburg, Feyenoord, Maccabi Tel Aviv, Fenerbahce, Young Boys, Basel, Bologna, and Go Ahead Eagles are the Aston Villa opponents. Rangers are going to play Roma, Porto, Braga, Ferencvaros, Ludogorets of Bulgaria, Sturm Graz, the Austrian team, Genk, and Brann. We're just waiting for the details of Nottingham Forest and who they're going to play, and Celtic as well. We don't have those just yet. You were about to say?
No, I was going to ask Andy about Max Bayer at Dortmund, a possible Aston Villa target, Brentford in for him as well as maybe a Wissa replacement. Is that a move you could see happening between now and Monday?
Yeah, well, Dortmund would definitely like it to happen. There's no doubt about that. They're signing Fabio Silva from Wolves, who had a brilliant season on loan at Las Palmas. It's the first season that he's really looked like a top-level player of some substance rather than someone of just potential. Bayer arrived, and they didn't really have a role for him. Dortmund, he's an enormous talent. That's clear. He can play as a central striker. He's better in the air than he looks. He looks quite sort of as if he'll be a wispy number 10 sort, and he can play that role. But he's decent in the air as well. I think the link between him and Damsgaard would be really, really interesting. And basically, Dortmund need to clear some stuff off the books.
I think Bournemouth looked at him before they signed Evan Nilsson last summer. He was on their list.
Yeah, very, very different sort of striker. But I think he needs somewhere where he can be an important player rather than a player that they just fit in now and then.
Celtic are going to play Roma, Feyenoord, Braga, Red Star Belgrade, Sturm Graz, Midtjylland of Denmark, Utrecht and Bologna. I suppose it depends what Celtic turn up. If it's going to be the Celtic that we saw over the last couple of weeks in Kairat, or it's going to be the Celtic that went toe-to-toe with Bayern Munich last year in the Champions League. They did very well in the Champions League.
They did great in the Champions League, Sam. The best they've really done in 2 decades in terms of making Celtic Park a real sort of homestead. So I guess the problem is with Celtic, obviously a lot of their fans are really unhappy at the moment about the lack of investment in the transfer market. I mean, I can kind of understand it in the sense that if you don't know whether you're in the Champions League or Europa League, how can you commit yourself, especially if you're a team with that sort of maximum budget? But now I guess they've got an excuse to not spend. Now they're just going into the Europa League, which is not ideal, and it's a lot for Brendan Rodgers to have to deal with.
Nottingham Forest play Porto, they play Real Betis, they play Ferencváros, they play Braga, Midtjylland, Sturm Graz, Malmo and Utrecht. And what do you make of their draw?
Forest Malmo was to repeat the European Cup final, was it not?
Yeah, that's right, from 1980. So
one of them,
absolutely huge. But I think you look at that with Forest. There's plenty of exciting places to be going, and again they will feel like they're really one of the favourites for this. You've got a lot of Champions League cusp teams in there. Porto are one of those, and they've been out, and Andre Villas-Boas has given Francesco Farioli a lot of resource this summer. They've signed some big players, Gabri Veiga, Victor Froholt. They've got a couple from the Premier League as well as we know, and Kivior will probably be one of those in the next couple of days. And of course, we've got Sebastian Haller, who's gone back to Utrecht after his illness, which is a great story. He did really well on loan there last season. Finally got free of Dortmund and signed permanently for Utrecht, who had a really good season.
So we have the Europa League draw for all of our teams involved now. Nottingham Forest, Porto, Real Betis, Ferencváros, Braga, Midtjylland, Sturm Graz, Malmo and Utrecht. As far as Aston Villa are concerned, it's Salzburg, Feyenoord, Maccabi, Tel Aviv, Fenerbahce, Young Boys, Basel, Bologna and Go-Ahead Eagles. Celtic and Rangers have pulled out their opponents too. Rangers are going to play Roma, Porto, Braga, Ferencváros, Ludogorets, Sturm Graz, Genk and Brann. And Celtic, well, they are going to play Roma, Feyenoord, Braga, Red Star Belgrade, Sturm Graz, Midtjylland, Utrecht and Bologna. Europa Conference League draw is on the way very shortly as well, and we'll find out who Crystal Palace get next.
Is Alexander Isak now free to make his move? Well, maybe, given that Newcastle have agreed to sign Stuttgart striker Nick Voltemade for a deal totalling £69 million. Our European experts have compared him to Peter Crouch, a big man with a great touch who can also weave in and out of challenges. Our transfer reporter Ben Jacobs says it remains to be seen if Newcastle will now open the door to another Liverpool bid.
If you're Liverpool and you're looking at this profile and the money spent, you're taking encouragement, because regardless of who comes in, if it's 150, Liverpool won't be there. If it's closer to 120 million, they will be.
Jose Mourinho has been sacked by Fenerbahce just hours after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was fired by Besiktas. Could either succeed Ruben Amorim? Well, Ben Foster's told us Gareth Southgate could maybe do it, given his ability to change the mindset within a dressing room. Either way, he says a new goalkeeper is a must, and there are so many that have already slipped through their fingers.
I just don't know why they're not going out and getting a Donnarumma or an Emi Martinez, because I think once you get that goalkeeper sorted, I think that's just the building blocks of where you need to get to.
Elsewhere, talkSPORT understands Xavi Simons has had his Spurs medical and everything's been signed after a €60 million fee was agreed. Alejandro Garnacho's move to Chelsea has been agreed as well. The initial fee is £40 million with another 10 in add-ons. Get all the latest transfer lines at talksport.com.
It's talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface with Alex Crook and Troy Deeney as well. Our biggest competition to date has been launched today, and we're giving you the chance to win Oasis tickets plus a whopping £25,000. Two lucky winners, not one, two, can win 25 grand and a pair of Oasis tickets to Wembley when they come back on the 27th of September. So if you want to get involved in this amazing competition, you better listen up now.
18 plus, UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word Oasis to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission. Or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 338. All entries must be received by the 19th of September at 9 a.m. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Going to find out Crystal Palace's fate in the Conference League very shortly. Aston Villa, who are their opponents actually on Sunday Night Live on talkSPORT at 7 o'clock, have drawn Salzburg at home, Feyenoord away, Maccabi Tel Aviv at home, Fenerbahce away, Young Boys at home, Basel away, Bologna at home, and Go Ahead Eagles away. Rangers have got Roma at home, Porto away. They've got Braga at home and Ferencváros away. Home to Ludogorets, away to Sturm Graz. Genk at home and Brann away. Celtic playing Roma final. Braga, Red Star Belgrade, Sturm Graz, Midtjylland, Utrecht and Bologna. And I'm just trying to locate the games that Nottingham Forest are going to play. Let's have a look, see if we can find them. No, I've lost them now. Oh, there they are. Porto, Real Betis, Ferencváros, Braga, Midtjylland, Sturm Graz, Malmo and Utrecht. Crystal Palace's fate about to be sealed in just a few moments. Eden Hazard has just walked onto the stage at the UEFA HQ. We'll hear from that in just a second. Andy, yesterday the Champions League draw was made out of the English clubs. Who's got the toughest task?
Newcastle, unquestionably. I think it's a great draw if you're a Newcastle fan, though, because there are loads of big teams who you want to play, having not played a lot of Champions League football in the last couple of decades. I mean, that's what they got last time when they got PSG and Milan. that they have got some latitude to actually qualify as well, though. I think you look at it from a fan's perspective and you think there are plenty of names and good teams that will make exciting matches. There are plenty of games that are easy to get to in Belgium, Northwest Germany, etc. Yeah, and then you look at the fact that straight away, because we have this new format of the Champions League that we're now at least semi-used to, like last year, no one had any idea how many points it would take for the top 24, how many points it would take for the top 8, where you go through to the last 16 automatically. Now I think that we know those figures, almost like us setting our 40 points in the Premier League before it came 30 points. You look at it and like 10 points is going to get you top 24 and about 15 is going to get you top 8. So I think for, say, Liverpool, Arsenal, you're looking at the way that you can get enough points early on, so you can rest some players early on, later on, and you can get your 15. But I think if you're Newcastle, you're looking at where do we get those 10 points first off? And I think from the home games, it feels like they should be able to get 9 of those.
That's the key thing, isn't it? It's what happens at home. And of course, we were there last year when they beat PSG. They've got another big iconic game. Barcelona travelling to Newcastle for the third time in European competition.
Huge.
We all remember the Faustino Asprilla hat-trick for the Magpies back in 1997. They won their most recent visit in 2003. I remember Shola Amiobi going to the new camp as well and having a good day as well, didn't he? Not so long ago. So it's a history with sort of iconic memories.
Yeah, it is. Well, I went to the game on Monday night, and one of the shirts that I saw walking up to the ground was a Faustino Asprilla one from that time. You know, he's still really loved, and he's still really remembered for a lot of reasons, but particularly for that game. But for them, this is where they really want to get their feet under the table for Europe. You know, they don't want it to be, and they didn't want it to be just a one-off. And now they've been in the Champions League, or they're going to be in the Champions League 2 seasons out of 3. You get an extra home game, you get used to the pace of it, and you know, there's almost 2 chances to qualify because there's the 8 and the 24 as well.
I think it worked really well, the new format last season, but obviously Manchester City have been paired against Real Madrid. Again, that's a fixture that we're used to seeing in the knockout stage in the Champions League.
Chelsea got Barcelona again.
Is there an issue with this competition that fixtures like that become diluted the more that the 2 teams get paired together in the league phase?
I guess both UEFA and especially the clubs would say, I mean, I broadly agree with you. I think those should be kept for special. They should be pudding, you know, not your bread and butter. Yeah. But I think if you look at it, the fact is that the market is a horrible word, which means the clubs, they want more of that. They want more of that. And UEFA have always got this difficult balance because they have to satisfy the clubs, the big clubs' desire to play each other more, to make more money, to have a bigger slice of the pie and still make it like decent sport. Now, I would say, like, for most of last season, it was pretty exciting. I thought the extra round, the punishment round, if you like, for the teams that finished 9 to 24 was pretty exciting. I thought that was a good addition. There are a few shocks in it. You think of Milan going out to Feyenoord. You think of Club Brugge putting one over on Atalanta, and of course they've run with that by beating Rangers this season. But I did feel that when we got to match day 8, it felt like there was the illusion of competition rather than there actually being. It felt like there was more to win than there actually was, if that makes sense. But I feel if we're talking about it from a fan's perspective, you're looking at it at the start of the season. No one really understands the format, and I don't think it was explained brilliantly to people. But once they got into it, I felt it was quite an enjoyable experience for fans, and you know, that's a definite plus.
You say that, but Manchester City, because they maybe took their eye off the ball in the early stages of the competition, actually found themselves on the final day of competition needing to get a result, and there was a point when they weren't going to qualify, and obviously they were. So that was a little bit dramatic, wasn't it? They did give us a little semblance of drive. I think was it Real Madrid or PSG that had a similar sort of problem?
Yeah, like Real Madrid and PSG were both looking bad after 6 games. You know, so I always felt that they were going to be able to turn it around. I mean, it's funny because I think you look at the main thing for me last season was the knock-on effect it had in the Europa League, because there were a lot of people who had a problem with the 3rd place team from the groups. You know, almost like a loser's victory. You know, getting a little bonus and falling into the Europa League. But when you got to the back end of the Europa League last season, and you know, the less said about the final, the better in terms of quality. It felt like the quality of the Europa League was quite a lot poorer from the quarterfinals onwards last season. Obviously, the Champions League should be the priority, but if we're talking about the overall effect, on the competitions. But it's funny because if last season's Champions League had been in old Champions League money, teams like Real Madrid, PSG, who are the eventual winners, of course, Manchester City, they would have been going into the Europa League, wouldn't they?
Yeah, and obviously I do think you're right. The secondary competition, as it's known, the Europa League, was poorer for the fact that there wasn't the big teams that come down from the Champions League. But maybe at the same time it should be. Maybe it should be those teams that are in it and that have qualified be fighting it out. How do you see it, Troy?
I enjoyed all of it last year, all the European football. I thought it worked. Again, I take your points where you guys are saying, Real Madrid versus Man City should be semi-finals, quarter-finals. But I actually quite like it. There's so many game weeks before where you just like, I'm not going to watch that because you could predict and you knew what was going to happen. I really liked the format last year. I thought it worked. I was just going through these. I've got Newcastle only losing 2 of the games. I think I've got them losing Barca, PSG. I've got winning Benfica, drawing with Leverkusen, beating PSV, drawing with Marseille, winning Athletic Club and winning Union SG. So I'm just going through where I think they're going to be to get the points, what you say there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's the big question mark, Troy, is what order are the fixtures going to be in? We can't really tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, because, like, say, for example, with Newcastle playing Leverkusen, if you're playing them first, I feel that's great because they're bedding in a whole new team. They looked awful on the first day of the season away at home to Hoffenheim. They only really created stuff from set pieces, whereas they're going to have a really busy next couple of days. And then maybe they look proper by the time you get to November and the team's really bedded in.
The brilliant Andy Brassell was in the studio with us here on talkSPORT. We're just taking apart all of the European draws. We've got the Conference League draw happening at the moment, and as soon as we find out Crystal Palace's opponents, we'll bring them to you. Here, this is Sam Matterface with Troy Deeney and Alex Crook, and H&J are back at 1 o'clock this afternoon.
It's talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface alongside Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. But we've got Andy Brassell here, and we're talking about Crystal Palace because their European adventure is going to start in earnest. And they've got AZ Alkmaar, Kups Kuopio, Larnaca, Dynamo Kiev, Strasbourg and Shelbourne. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. Let's be just clear about it. I haven't got a clue who Kups Kuopio are. Andy, go for it. Finish. Yeah, it had to be, didn't it?
Yeah.
So no, we've still got 10 minutes.
Hey, dear oh dear. He's here all day with the dad jokes.
The Strasbourg one is interesting. At least I think that's a really interesting one because
Strasbourg.
Look at the fact that no one in France has got any money to spend at the moment, and yet because of the Chelsea connection, they spent well over 100 million on players. Liam Rosenior has done a brilliant job there. In their first game of the season, Strasbourg were the first team in any of the top 5 leagues in Europe to play 11 players, all born in the 21st century. So they've got great athleticism to them.
I'll tell you
as
what,
well.
you two would have an unbelievable dinner, wouldn't you? It would just be stat
7 courses.
Yeah, just stat after stat, just being fired out.
He's handled himself really well as well, hasn't he, Rosenior? Because he's obviously the fans of Strasbourg are a little bit sort of concerned about the Blue Co ownership and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he sort of said, no, hold on a second. If I take a player from Chelsea, it's not because they're forced on me. I decide who comes into this football club. And he sort of tried to have that gravitas, which has given him sort of elevation amongst the supporters.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just really honest and straightforward. Right. And I think as well what helps him, and we see it with other coaches, we see it with Hansi Flick at Barcelona, we see it with Paulo Fonseca at Lyon, because dressing rooms are so international. It's not like, you remember when Claudio Ranieri first came here and everyone made a massive fuss that he couldn't speak English straight away, and there were a few confusing bits with the interpreter. Because you've got such a multinational dressing room, if you're going in there and speaking English, everyone's getting it. It's fine.
I think people are downplaying. He's been unbelievable as both a coach and as a head coach, even at Hull. And now we're going over there. But I think the way he conducts himself, the way he handles himself, I don't want to push too far ahead for Liam, but he's somebody that I can see coming back to the Prem in a year or two, and everyone will be going, oh, where did he come from?
Well, I think Blueco wanted to keep him in the system when there was a little bit of interest from Southampton before Will Steele was appointed in the summer. So who knows, maybe he is being lined up as a long-term Chelsea manager.
Before, haven't we? Yeah. Because he's quite confident as well, and he
backs himself.
But he's done the work, though. That's why I love the confidence. He's done the work. He's done years of it. You talk about Derby with Wayne Rooney. He did a lot of the work.
He did.
But I think you look at someone, I think, as a coach nowadays, and I think I spoke to Xabi Alonso about this a while back when he was at Leverkusen, and he was like, okay, what people outside the game sometimes don't understand is that obviously tactics are important to a degree. That's a framework, but you have to trust the players as individuals to be able to interpret it. You can't go out.
So it's not always the system, is that what you're saying?
No, that's it. We get totally... I think we get totally hooked up on the system because I guess discussing like the tactical system is still quite a new thing in English football. But I think it's really funny because if you look at Liam Rosenior, what makes him so successful is such a serial improver of players. Yep. Like some of those players who arrived last year, you look at Emmanuel Omega, the striker, the Dutch striker, who is going to end up at Chelsea at some point. There's no doubt about that. They were never going to let another Premier League club have him. And I think he'll be in the Dutch team and he'll be a Premier League player for Chelsea in a year or two's time. I think if you look at someone like Diego Moreira, who came out of Chelsea, went on loan to Lyon, didn't look anything like a top flight player, was brilliant last season for them. He's improved him so much.
Just on Palace, it's an irony, isn't it, that they're going to play Strasbourg, part of a multi-club ownership model that clearly they've benefited from. Palace didn't benefit from having John Textor around, and they've been demoted as a result of that.
Yeah, no one really benefits from John Textor apart from Botafogo so far. I mean, look, I know Sheffield Wednesday.
In the face for Palace,
Sheffield Wednesday are in a particular position at the moment, but like, don't be running into his arms too quickly. However bad,
I don't think that's going to happen. And from what I understand, I think there's somebody else is on the horizon.
That's good news.
Normally, people who tell you they're going to buy a football club don't end up buying a football club.
Well, he's been telling everyone he's been buying loads of different football clubs.
He sacked Sean Dyche before he even got control of Everton.
Interestingly, though, I mean, we should just focus on Crystal Palace and who they've got here. AZ Alkmaar and Larnaca
Monica are going to be the home games, and the Finnish team, Kubskubio, are also going to be at home at Selhurst Park. So big nights at Selhurst Park. But away from home, they're going to go to Strasbourg. They're going to go to Ireland and play Shelbourne, which would be a big trip.
Very exciting.
It'd be a fantastic trip, won't it, for Crystal Palace? And
nice if we could go to that
the
one.
Crystal Palace supporters. We'll try and sort it out, Troy.
The ring nice and early.
I've got to get it done, otherwise I'll be in the basement.
We might get we might get invited by Shelbourne. They might want us to go and do the show from there. That might be fun.
great.
We could do that.
I'm game.
And Dynamo Kiev. Now, where are they playing their home games at the moment?
We're not sure yet because they tend to play the qualifiers in a different place that they play the group stages. So we would imagine somewhere in Poland,
Right.
but we have to wait and see. It won't be somewhere with a massive ground, obviously, because they're Conference League games. I mean, we saw Shakhtar playing in Poland and then upgrading to different places in Germany, playing at Hamburg and Schalke, because if you're playing at home to Barcelona, you can fill it up and you can make a load of money. Dynamo Kiev, who of course started out in the Champions League qualifiers, unbeaten in the league last season, on their way to winning the title again. They won't be doing that in the Conference League.
That's a tough trip, wherever it is, for Crystal Palace.
I mean, they're in a great position to win the league.
Here's a question.
No doubt about it.
Crystal Palace's problem over the last two legs of their Fredrikstad game was the fact that they had to take the game to the Norwegian opposition because they're big favourites in this competition. Because most of the games that they go into, they'll be big favourites in. They almost have to have a different modus operandi because they're so used to sitting off and then going to try and counter-attack. They won't be able to do that as much.
It's kind of like the opposite as if you're, say, the champions of Bulgaria or whatever. So say if you're Ludogorets and like you're in a Champions League situation. Seen so many situations where a team like them has, say, gone to Arsenal and you think, God, they're really pleasing on the eye, and then they lose like 6-0. Because, of course, they're not used to not having the ball. Yeah. They play far too open and get absolutely smashed on the break. And what you're saying about Palace, that's almost the opposite, isn't it? So I guess that's something they have to deal with. But look, the fact is they've got the Eze money. They might have the game money. I think with all of these ties, we talked about how we've got to temper what we think in terms of which order the fixtures are in. Also, what sort of squads are some of these teams going to end up with? And I think you look at that on the other side of these Conference and Europa League sides. We talked about people in Monaco discussing transfers at the moment. You're looking at a lot of these competitors for Forest in the Europa League and for Palace in the Conference League. They'll be losing some big players over the next couple of days. There's no doubt about that.
Andy and I are going to go and spend the rest of the afternoon just going through all the statistics of every team.
Fresh Boy's available for lunch as well.
We're not inviting Crook because he's salty and miserable. And nice to see you. Troy, lovely to see you. Spend more time with you. It was great. We had a good Monday night, didn't we?
Yeah,
we had a brilliant Monday night at Newcastle against Liverpool. Got a good weekend as well.
I'm
Crookie,
moving in.
You're coming up to stay with me for a couple of days, which is nice.
Be nice.
I'm always nice, but you make sure you don't lose this cap because it was very, very expensive. Right? Keep it salty. Keep it salty, people. We'll be back next Friday, 10 till 1. Me and the Saltmeister will be with you on Sunday. Game Day Live, 1:30 as well. See you soon. H&J next.
Ooh, salty.